is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
I guess that's me. Hey, welcome aboard on a beautiful Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. You know, I never really know what the weather is wherever you're at, and I always say beautiful because every day is beautiful that you wake up. You know what I'm saying? So I just want you to know, just in case, because maybe you're sitting in Denver, Colorado, and it's raining, which, God, I hope it rains a lot in Denver, Colorado, and in California, and all the folks and all our listeners out there out west. I hope it does. But, you know, I always say beautiful because it's beautiful every day that you're able to open your eyes and say, all right, we've got another day to go and another day to enjoy. I was just watching Brian Flores' press conference. It just finished. And our boy Omar Kelly, obviously, asked the question that you remember yesterday I told you and I broke down why the Dolphins have Charlie Fry and how much I love it. And if you didn't hear that segment, you may want to, check yesterday's show on that. And I explained everything. I told you how much I love the fact that the way they break it down. And so the coach, I should have recorded it and maybe replay it back for you guys. But coach was talking about how there are 6 different people watching each play, right? They're watching the front side of it, the back side of it. They're watching the formations. They're watching. So then there's input from all over, right? Which is really smart, by the way. And I know coach at one point said, I don't know if that's too much information, but, a geek like me, I love hearing about that kind of stuff. I love hearing about how they go about putting all of this together and all the information. And so he was talking about how then, they then call the play and give it to Charlie, and then Charlie then sends it to Tua. And in the process, coach was talking about how it's, he'll tell him wristband 37. So then he'll go to the wristband, he'll look at 37, and that's the play, and he'll call the play. But at the same time, Charlie will then tell him, hey, we'll go with wristband 37. Remember what we talked about on the backside of this play. So in other words, QB to QB talking. I freaking nailed it, dude. Like, I freaking nailed it yesterday on the whole thing with Charlie Fry. And again, this is why, and I told you guys this, it's that it's almost like there's an agenda by some people because it's different, because it's not your traditional defensive coordinator. Everybody they just call the plays and this and that. And he's doing it with 2 different coordinators. It's almost like some people want to go out of their way to try to find and dig up a way to slam it. Hasn't even started. It isn't even working yet. And we want to slam it already, which is the weirdest thing in the world. Like, why don't we wait till it actually happens? Because it might work, right? It might be a really good thing. And, I, in a way, I'm kind of on the opposite end of it. And I'm getting ahead of myself saying, I love it. Why did I say I love it? Because I love the fact that Charlie Fry's the guy talking to Tua. Because Charlie Fry's the guy that played in the NFL. Charlie Fry's the guy that started, backed up in the NFL, prepared for NFL games and NFL teams as a player. So he can relate better than anybody else in that room to Tua, because he knows exactly what Tua is going through. And so again, I just, these are the other things. These are the things that I've said why Flo is one of those guys that grows on me every month. That it's just a slew of examples why you like the guy and why you think that most of the time he's doing logical things and he knows how to handle his team. And I thought it was really, really cool. And so we'll have some fun with Omar on Friday when we bring him on. Obviously, we will have Alan Poupar on with us today. Remember, the Dolphins will start their practices today against the Atlanta Falcons. We have two of our insiders there covering it. And Alan will check in with us in the 11 o'clock hour. So we'll have a little fun with Alan, and we'll get his thoughts on what's going on up against the Atlanta Falcons, which should be another nice week for the Dolphins in preparation, getting ready for the regular season. And the way that this is all working out, folks, and this is the one thing that I will tell you that it's kind of interesting in the way it's working out for the Dolphins right now. It's crazy, but they might be better prepared for the regular season, of course, more than last year. Any year is better than last year with everything that went on with the pandemic, and they're not really practicing, and it was all, virtual. I'm talking about like 2 years ago and 3 years ago. This might be the most prepared team leading into the regular season than the last couple of years before last year. Forget last year. Last year doesn't count. There's no way, you were ever prepared like you were in other years. And I say this because you have 2 different weeks here where you're getting practices against another team for a couple of days and then the preseason game. So really, in a way, it's almost like you're playing 5 games. The 2 practices against the 2 teams, then the 2 games against the 2 teams, and then the 3rd game. So really, you're getting a lot of work here in order to get prepared. And listen, is it better than what it was 10, 20 years ago, 25 years ago? No, no. But I'm talking about the last 5, 6, 7 years, how we've had these kind of rules. This might be, in Flo's 3rd year now. He's obviously more comfortable as a head coach, right? He's more settled in as a head coach. He's got more of his players on this team now going into year 3, you would imagine, right? Chris Greer and him should be a little bit more settled in. Hopefully, these other additions that they made on their coaching staff are the final additions to kind of put it all together, and he finds the right offensive line coach, right? All of those kind of things. But then now his for him to actually set his team up 2 weeks in a row to have these extra practices, priceless. And so this is another reason why you got to like this coach. And I love this, these practices last week against the Bears and this week against Atlanta. I said this months ago when this was planned out. I was like, okay, this is genius. Because I remember my time as a beat guy, those were the best practices. Those were the best moments that I would hear from coaches like, this is the kind of work that we love to get. This is the kind of work that really helps our team improve, those kind of things. So Miami might be actually as best prepared as possible as they've been in the last couple of years. Now, it also helps that Flo and his staff are way better than Gase and company and other staffs that you've had in the past. That's the other reason why you'll also be better prepared as a football team. And if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you got to be happy about that situation, right? I mean, that makes a lot of sense there. But it's interesting stuff, and it's a good thing now that the boys get ready for the practices against the Falcons over the next couple of days. Let's just, obviously hope for plenty of health, and hopefully the boys can make it through. They've had enough players get dinged up, which is never fun. But hopefully they don't suffer too many injuries. I think he said most of the guys that missed the game, like Parker and Hollins and Fuller and Preston and those kind of guys are probably going to miss. What is it? Parker, Beagle, Fuller, Wilson, Eichenberg, Long, are probably out also this, at least today, he said, against the Atlanta Falcons. The other bit of news that came out yesterday was Allen Hurns, the former Kane and possession receiver, is going to have wrist surgery, and he's going to be out several months. The coach says that he expects to put him on the IR. Look, Allen Hurns wasn't going to make this team. Allen Hurns was probably going to make somebody else's team because Allen Hurns is a good player. He's a good receiver. He's not a frontline guy, but he's a possession guy that helps you move the chains. He's got good hands overall. He's had his share of injuries over the last couple of years, actually. It's not just so much that he stepped out with COVID, but he had some injuries before that. And so now he has the wrist injury, which, it sucks for the young man. So he'll end up on the IR, and we'll see what ends up happening with him down the line. I was thinking about this today, and I was looking at the wide receiving core of the Miami Dolphins, and right now, okay, the way I look at it, Waddle obviously and Fuller are in. Parker and Preston Williams, I think, will end up making the team. Obviously, Preston may end up buying a spot for somebody because he probably could start the season. He probably will on the PUP list, so he won't be active. So maybe somebody can step in for him. But I would imagine that the 6 that are locked in, if you include Preston in a few weeks after the season starts, Waddle, Fuller, Parker, Williams, Mac Hollins, and Jakeem Grant are kind of your locked-in 6. Now, if Williams is going to go on the PUP list, then that leaves you with 5. And then all of a sudden now, it's like you've got Foster, Bowden Jr., and Albert Wilson battling for that number 6 spot while Williams is out. And then eventually it'll be the 7 spot if they keep 7 receivers overall. And I know some of you are saying, well, wait a minute, Albert Wilson was kicking ass. Yeah, well, he was, but then he got injured now. And he's had an injury before that. So it's one of those things where, and he doesn't help you out on special teams. If Albert Wilson is not one of your starters, it's hard to have him there as a backup when he doesn't help you in any other area. Whereas Foster can help you out on special teams. Lynn Bowden can help you out on special teams and in multiple positions. Also as a player, Mac Hollins is obviously a standout special teamer, and he's having a really good camp as a wide receiver. I mean, Mac Hollins is this kid that you can't deny him. It's like Nick Needham. He just continues to improve. And so just because he comes out of nowhere doesn't mean you diss him, right? And then obviously Jakeem Grant, key returner on this team. So for me, the wide receiver positions are kind of getting settled right now. But again, the back end guys have to be guys that help you out in other areas. They cannot just be like Albert Wilson, that he's just a receiver. That's not enough. And if you're just a receiver and you're unreliable, for Albert Wilson, he had an injury a couple of years ago. I hate to say it, but he stepped out from you on COVID last year, and now he's got an injury. So if you're the team, you're like, well, he hasn't been reliable lately. And so I don't care what he did for a couple of weeks in camp. That doesn't mean anything. Now the games are starting and he's not available. So that's a problem for Albert Wilson. Now, Albert could be healthy enough that maybe you do end up trading him for something and you could get something for him. But the way things are breaking down right now, that's what it looks like in the wide receiver room. The real question is, are they keeping 6 or are they keeping 7? That's the real question. That's the part we don't know. But they can go as far as 7 because you think about it. If you have Hollins and Foster, those are your flyers. Those are your gunners. So you can actually, they're very useful as players because they're helping you constantly on special teams. So as long as they're doing that, they're a part of the game plan week to week. And you don't have to worry. Like an Albert Wilson, if you're not going to use him as a wide receiver because you're deep at your starting guys, and then he doesn't help you out on special teams, and what's he going to do? Be inactive? That doesn't help out much either. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of games. And if you're Albert Wilson, after starting off so well, now you get injured and you have the setback, and now you're not contributing, and now you're not, showcasing your skills. And when it counts, and that's where the durability issue comes in, where the accountability issue comes in, where, hey, man, it's your best talent is that you're available. Availability is like, the number one talent, and that's something that's been a problem for Albert Wilson. So we will see how that ends up all working out. Well, good morning, all of you out there. Hope you all are doing well. Let's see, what do we got here on the chat board? And I think it was Steve was in first. I don't know why it didn't show up here on my YouTube one, but I know I have it here on my other computer as Steve Chapman was in. Isais was checking in too. Ian from Brooklyn, Uber Beater, Miguel Garcia, R. Rod, Catracho 1978, Raging Dolphin Maniac. R. Rod says, man, I got a craving for those sports grilled wings. Every day, brother. Every day I can eat those special grilled wings at Sports Grill. Well, hopefully you will join us at Sports Grill on Bird Road or Miami Lakes for our pre and post game shows as we watch the Dolphins together. That's going to be a lot of fun. GP Trap Hewitt is in, and of course he says watching from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today. Smash the like button. He is correct. You got to please smash that like button. And enjoy Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my friend. Let's see. TH from the 203 is in. Big O stuck in Connecticut, cloudy and humid. Just be safe, my brother. That's all. Just be safe. Take care of yourself out there. Herman Cueva is in. Lately, any day you can take a deep breath is a good day. That's what Raging Dolphin Maniac says. I agree, my man. Daniel Marquez. Big O, the coach didn't know how to answer at first. Haha. He got discovered and didn't know what to say. You nailed it. Yep. We definitely nailed it. And it made sense. Makes a lot of sense. Jimmy 10 is in from Tennessee. Thank you, sir, out there. I am dying to go see a game, a Vols game. But you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to see the Vols get back to respectability. Like back, like just like UM wants to get back to respectability, and so does USC, and so does Florida State, and there's several powers that have gone down. But I want Tennessee to get back to being good again, so I could go to a game one day there at Rocky Top, because that's one of those places I want to see. Not that I'm a Vols fan, but I want to go to an Iron Bowl game, Auburn and Alabama. I've never gone to a game at Ohio State or Michigan. Would love to do that, man. There's certain experiences around college football that I'd like to check out at least once. And if the Vols were good again and the place is rocking, I would imagine that by the second half, I'll be tired of them singing Rocky Top. But still, it's an experience. I would like to do it. So welcome aboard out there in Tennessee. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Who else do we have here after Jimmy? Herman Cueva, Troy Ortiz. Cidola says, oh, that thumbnail of the Orange Bowl pierced my soul for a second, doesn't it? It does it for all of us, man. That's why we added it in there, man. Gus 1388. Greg Sportin Wood says, is Tua missing out on chemistry with no Parker, Fuller, Wilson present in practice? Does that even matter? Greg Wood, it's an interesting question that you pose, because the Dolphins have so many receivers that are injured. Does it hurt Tua? And normally, I would tell you that, yeah, it's going to hurt. It is going to hurt, but it's only going to hurt Tua a little bit. Just a little bit. It would hurt Ryan Tannehill a ton. It would hurt Ray Lucas a ton. It would hurt most average to below average quarterbacks a ton, because they're not great passers. This kid's a great passer. This kid, remember, look, I've used this analogy many times over. When we're all kids, right, and we all go to the park, and there's 6 of us, or 8 of us, or 10 of us, or, man, if it's a really big group, it gets to 12 or 14 people, And let's say you're playing 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 6-on-6, 7-on-7, and so on, right? So when you're doing that, do you have two quarterbacks usually in that group? No, right? Usually there's only one guy that's a pretty good passer, and then the next guy's kind of hit or miss, right? And then those two guys are picking players, right? And you're usually going, man, I hope the guy that can pass picks me because you always feel like you have the better chance of winning. And why is that? Because the one kid in your group that knows how to pass the ball, he can throw to anybody and he can adjust. And everybody's different size, speed, all those things. And so you've got to have more touch and more feel, right? That's not something that a lot of quarterbacks have. Only the really good ones and the elite ones have that feel for a game. Tua is that guy. Okay. I'm opposite of a lot of these other people that are hating on Tua and they, ended up looking pretty silly this week when they actually watched the kid like, wow, he's actually pretty damn good. You know, Tua's going to be one of the more crafty quarterbacks out there. He's going to be one of those guys that can operate in chaos, which to me is the ultimate test of a quarterback, that he is going to make people better. He is going to help them get more yards because he's going to lead them. He's going to place the ball in a position where you can continue the flow of your play. He's not going to, not stop and turn around and grab a ball and slow down, allow DBs to get to you. That's not what this kid is. So yes, if it was a quarterback that wasn't a great passer, I would tell you, yeah, this is a problem. But this is a kid that's going to be a great passer. This is a kid that has a feel for the game. And so he's going to be able to adjust to whoever's out on the field quickly. That's why you hear Gesicki gushing over him now, because now the kid's been able to play football. He's in shape. His core of his body is healthy now. All of these things are enormous pluses for Tua. And that's why you're watching him now be more comfortable out there. The offense is designed for him. The players are more like what he needs. All of these things are going to help him out. Obviously, having Charlie Fry in his ear helps out too, because there's also a what's it called, a familiarity factor that comes between those two guys. So there's a comfort zone there. So yes, it would hurt some quarterbacks a lot, and it would only hurt some other quarterbacks just a little bit, and Tua is one of those guys. So I wouldn't worry. I've told you this before with Parker. Just get his ass to the regular season, bro. I don't need to see him in the preseason. And he's already played with Tua. And he's practiced with Tua in the offseason. So I'm not really worried that much, actually, about all of this. Now, what I am worried is, man, I want to get Will Fuller healthy, because Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle on the same field is an absolute terror. I want to get Preston healthy. I want to get Parker healthy. And you know why I want to get all those guys healthy? Because I don't really want you to count on the backup guys. And, as much as I'm a big Jakeem fan, he hasn't excelled as a wide receiver yet. And he, comes up short at times there. And I think also because he's a small guy, I don't want you like you've done the last 2 years where you're overusing him. And I think that's a detriment to him. I'd rather him focus more on special teams and on offense, where he's more of a decoy than anything else. That you'll throw it to him occasionally just to keep them honest, but he's more of a decoy to scare the crap out of teams with all that speed on the field. You know what I mean? So, yes, it could hurt some players, but in Tua's case, I don't think it's that much of a setback having these guys out. I don't. So there you go. And Fuller, by the way, is not going to play in game 1 anyway. But I just need him to get healthy so he's ready to go for game 2, because I want to see this offense at its best. Because I'm one of those nutbags that's telling you this is going to be a damn good offense. And Tua's going to throw for 30-plus touchdowns this year. I really believe this is going to be a good offense, and things will settle down. I think the line will get better as the year goes on. I think they drafted enough talent there that it just takes some time for guys to develop and get some practice, play with each other. Also, that's the other thing. These linemen have not played together as a group. This gives them time to see as many stunts as possible so they're able to read and react to everything that's going on, and they kind of get to play together, which, as you all know, is so key for this offensive line. So there's a lot of things that I want to see healthy, but I don't think that this is really going to set the team back or set Tua back that much. Let's see. Herman says practice starts tomorrow with the Falcons. Today is walk-on. Well, okay. C Dola. That thumbnail. I saw that. Okay. Let's see. Gus is in. Richmond Hernandez says Big O Colin Coward was gushing over Flo, and the GM said they were coached. Yeah, whatever. Colin's a clown, and Richard, I don't listen to Colin. I don't care. A couple of you sent me the video yesterday of him talking about how well they're coached and all that, and way to catch up to everything that we already know. There's a reason why I don't listen or watch people like that, because they don't know more about our teams than we do. So, it's not like I'm ever going to learn a damn thing from Colin Coward. I've done this for 30 years. I know what a lazy radio host is. That's a lazy radio host. That's all. But I mean, he's got the national stage, so people listen to him or whatever. But Richard, I'd rather watch paint dry, my brother. That guy brings zero to the table. Omar Lopez is in. JG Long is in. Felix Soto is locked in. Herman says, I think Preston might get traded, Big O. I don't think you could trade him at this point. You're not going to get much. He's been very injury prone the last 2 years. And I don't even blame him for the second injury. I blame the Dolphins for the second injury, but it's going to be hard, man. He is injured, or are they all known starters? Rest and see who's getting the final spot. No, I think there's some legitimate injuries. I think he would want some of these guys practicing. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to play them in certain games like a Parker, but you would want them practicing. He's one of those guys that he wants his guys practicing and getting, in a groove. Let's see. Herman says Bowden Jr. can be positions as a running back, depth, but really a wide receiver. No, but he's more considered a wide receiver, but he can help you in other areas. That's why I mentioned him, because he has that advantage over Albert Wilson that he does several things. Ray Grullon is in. He says, let's see. Okay, he's talking with Herman there. Okay. Felix says, trust me, we are going to keep Wilson due to the fact our receivers can't stay healthy. DVP, Williams, Fuller, and neither can Wilson. So you can't say you're going to count on one guy, but then you can't count on you can't say you're going to count on one guy because you can't count on others. But who says you can count on Albert Wilson? I haven't seen durability there. Ivan Ulysses is in. Fred Soros is in. Dougie Fresh says, read that Tebow was released by the Jags. Say it ain't so. I guess celebrity boxing is next. Yeah, that could be good for Tebow. Although I don't want to get in the ring with him because he's got the power of God. So he could really knock the crap out of you. You got to watch out with Tebow there. Let's see. Paul Curry is in. EJD, Eric is in, baby. Yeah. What's up, Eric? Give the folks a ring over at ejdconstruction.com. Eric's good people. Thomas Cook in. Lisa Rose. Let's see. Smashing that like button while working this new knee into shape. Hope you feel better, Lisa. Good morning. Stephen Gonzalez in. Jay Gelfin says, good morning, my brother. I believe the whole Tua narrative would be completely different if the Dolphins handled Fitz differently last year. I don't think so. I think it's more about Flo wanting to win, and he moved those two guys in and out because he was trying to win and he wasn't getting consistency out of either guy. So I think that's really what it was all about in a way. It's not so much about the development or hurting him mentally or anything like that. I think it was more, this guy Flo is about winning. and he's not going to sacrifice winning for the development of a player. If the player's developing and helping you win, fine. But if the player's not developing and not helping you win, then you're going to go on the bench. That's the way it is. And just because they're young doesn't mean they're not going to try to win. That's why the first year I kept telling people they're not tanking. They went young and they're trying to win with young. And that's why it took the second half of the season for them to figure it out, because they're young. They needed the experience. They needed to see failure. They needed to go through the ups and downs. And then they got better as the second half of the year wore on. And people were, they wanted to tank for Tua. But this dude's not about tanking. He's about winning. And I think that's what it was all about. It wasn't about Tua and it wasn't about Fitz. It was about winning and who can help me win. Which one of you two is going to help me win? That's what I think Flo is all about. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we are going to talk a little basketball with Ira Winderman and the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. That's next.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All righty, it is time, baby, to rock and roll with the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. And we do it twice a week with Ira Winderman Rad here of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. And there he is, ready to rock. Ira, good morning, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Orlando, I'm doing good, and it's kind of odd. I just tweeted this out, and it caught me by surprise because all these years have run into each other. 6 weeks till the start of training camp. 6 weeks.
Crazy. It's year-round, Ira.
But think about this. Think about this.
A
year ago at this time, the Heat were completing 2 seasons ago. Wrap your head around that at this time, the Heat were just about to start the playoffs of the 2019-20 season. They played the entire 2021 season, and now they're 6 weeks away from the 21-22 seasons. I mean, in the words of Costanza, Jerry, it's worlds colliding.
Yes, it is. It's crazy, man, but that's this sport has done what football has done, and it's made it year-round, and that's why there are storylines year-round. Hell, we had a couple of trades go on here recently in the NBA. Are the Heat done right now? Is the roster locked in? Because I know you talked about possibly a point guard. I know the UD addition just happened. How about Miami? Are they done? Because we just saw Patrick Beverley get traded.
Yeah, the Heat are numerically and mathematically done because of the luxury tax. And certainly you and I can debate whether the Arison should or shouldn't pay a little bit more. They've always said if they are contenders, they would. However, the luxury tax is onerous. And we know this, Big O. There's a repeater tax. 3 or 5 years you're in the tax, you pay a ton. So all of a sudden, a minimum salary guy can cost you $10, $15 million or even more. We know in future seasons, with the Adebayo contract on the books, with the Lowry contract on the books, with the Butler contract on the books, and just everything else, Duncan Robinson on the books, they're going to be a luxury tax team. So this might be the year you say, look, we'll try to get by with what we have. The only way at the moment for the Heat to have a different player brought in and still remain below the tax, there's just one way at the moment, and that's a trade. If you can trade Casey Akpala, say for a draft choice or for another player, you can do it that way. Otherwise, they have enough space under the tax that later in the season, trade deadline, buyout deadline, they should be able to add one more. It's why it's some consternation over the UD signing and just some general thought of, like you said, do they have that point guard? Because you're right, Memphis now has 4 point guards. They have Patrick Beverley, they have Rajon Rondo, they have Desmond Bane who plays point guard, and of course they have Ja Morant. Knowing Andy and knowing Pat, if they need to do something, they will find a way to do something.
Okay, all right, that's interesting because it's just the UD signing. To me, we talked about this, and I know it's blasphemous and all of that. What was their justification? What do you hear behind the scenes? Because a veteran-laden team like this, I don't think needs UD nearly as much. So I'm wondering, what's the method behind the madness, and why not just make him a coach already?
Well, number one, basically the Heat gave him a lifetime contract. There were some years when he didn't get the money that he wanted. The last 4 years he hasn't played. He'll now make $10 million. So there seems like there was ample payback there. I look at it this way a little, and I'm not sure that it's the right way to say it this way. But basically, Jimmy Butler has gotten on this roster who he wants, including the godfather of his daughter, Kyle Lowry. Bam Adebayo swears by Udonis Haslem, says that Udonis has meant everything since his arrival, calls him his locker room mentor. So you could make an argument, Big O, that if Jimmy can get his $85 million guy in Kyle Lowry, shouldn't Bam and his extension be able to get his $1.7 million guy? UD means everything to Bam Adebayo. And I think Bam would feel, at least initially, like we all do when our friends move on elsewhere, might feel a little bit lost. So I think that factors into it also.
Well, I hope Bam then picks up the dog mentality of UD and, goes out there and bites some people's heads off this season and takes control at times. That would be nice. In a way, we saw Barkov kind of, become a little bit more aggressive this year with the Panthers. I'd like, if UD is going to be your mentor, well, then, have the fire of UD also on that court sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think with this roster, you'll have to be, because if you're not a dog, you'll hear about it from PJ Tucker and from Kyle Lowry and from Markieff Morris and all the dogs out there. And this time, UD won't be on the court against Dwight Howard when Dwight is fouling people and throwing them to the court like rag dolls. So it's going to have to be Tucker. It's going to have to be Markieff Morris, and it's going to have to be Bam Adebayo. I think Bam gets that also. I think, Bam is in this generation, and it's a little foreign to you and I, of where the players are all friends. Remember the Pat Riley when he came and you get fined if you helped an opposing player up off the court, and they'd be held to pay. And now everyone's a buddy. They play AAU ball together like Bam did with so many of these players. Obviously in college at the factories like Bam did with De'Aaron Fox and all the Kentucky players. And then Olympics. Look, they were all in Olympics camp together. All these guys are friends. I think that's part of the lesson you have to learn. There can be friendships off the court, but you have to maintain that Heat mantra when you get on the court. Bam's learning that. Again, only 23, 24 years old. Some of this stuff takes time. He knows the expectations. He knew what that extension meant signing it, and he knew when he signed it, it was going to limit the Heat in this offseason. So he basically said, you don't need others. You're going to have me.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Remember, you can follow Ira on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Center. And, of course, you can catch him here 3 times a week with the Accra Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then tomorrow, we've got the Pallet Rack City Inside the Paint show with Clay Ferraro. That'll be 10 to 11 tomorrow morning, a 1 hour of basketball talk. What'd you think of the trade of Patrick Beverley and Rondo? I thought that was kind of an odd trade. You figure playoff Rondo and all this other stuff and the leadership and all that, and they got rid of some defense too, the Clippers. What'd you think of that trade?
I think this means that the Clippers know they're not going to have Kawhi Leonard for most of the season, if not all of the season. So look at Rondo. He's not a scorer anymore. Never really was. Shot came around in the bubble, not much. Patrick Beverley has never been a scorer. It's the reason originally the Heat kept Eddie House over him when they had a chance to make that initial decision. So I think the Clippers thought is this: we have to stay afloat this year. It's probably not our contention year, but someone like Eric Bledsoe is more of a complete player. So I understand it for them. Again, people who were predicting the Western Conference and looking at the Lakers and the other teams, without Kawhi Leonard, even though they competed with Paul George in the playoffs, they're not a contender. And I think they know that. They're trying to stay afloat. I don't understand it as much for Memphis, only that it helped them long-range salary cap. I understand that also, but they have so many point guards, and they don't fit. And there has to be a part B. There's been so much wheeling and dealing already. They made their trade. Valanciunas, who I like a lot, wound up going to New Orleans in that trade. Now they have Steven Adams, a paint-based center. So I think Memphis is sort of going through the churn of saying, you know what? We're not top 4 in the West. We're probably not top 6 in the West. We need to keep working this thing until we find our mix. So, yeah, I would say if not by opening day, at some point during the season, you won't see both Beverly and Rondo with the Grizzlies. But again, and I know where you might be leading here, if there's a buyout, you're talking about possibly adding Patrick Beverly for the minimum or possibly adding Rajon Rondo for the minimum. The Heat can't even take that on, even the veterans minimum, where their luxury tax is right now. Now, if they can move a KZ Okpala for a draft choice or for a nothing, then you could do something like that. And yet, I don't love the fit. I've been the person who's saying from the get-go that he needs a veteran backup point guard to get this team in offense. But, we both know you got to be able to shoot in this league. And Rondo's not a shooter. And Beverly's not a shooter.
Right, they're not shooters. Yeah, they're definitely not shooters. All right, well, the guy that is Tyler Hero. And he can play a little point guard, too. If you need it, Barker bites. What's he going to do this offseason? Is this kid going to, focus and come back and take that step that we were all hoping he would take last year? Or and what is the Heat trying to do to light that fire if they can under the kid's butt?
What the Heat are trying to do more than anything is this. A year from now, Tyler Hero will be in his rookie scale extension window. The Heat have to find out this season if he's extension worthy, just like Bam Adebayo when Bam got his $163 million extension. Right now, I think we would both agree that would be a hard bullet to bite, to have to say at this moment, if we had to do it, let's extend Tyler Hero 4 years, 5 years at $163 million. So, I think what they have to do is this, is find a niche for Tyler Hero, put him in that niche, and know what they have from a player in that niche. If they put him in the six-man role, the Vinnie Johnson, the Jamal Crawford type of scoring role, and he thrives, hey, those guys are valuable in today's NBA, especially when you have Kyle Lowry, who next season, a year from now, is 36, Jimmy Butler, who a year from now will be 33. You're going to need that spark off the bench. So I think the opposite of what you and others have suggested or mentioned. I don't play him at point guard at all. I don't mess with the guy's head. You are instant offense. You will come off the bench every game. You will give us 20-plus minutes. You will get buckets like you did in the bubble. And if you can do that, like you did against Boston in the playoffs, then we know what your special purpose will be. Eventually, maybe into the starting role, but we know who you are. But, man, it messed with his head last season when they started him at point guard. And I think this has to be a season of discovery for the Heat when it comes to Tyler Hero.
Are you hearing anything on his own, what he's doing, how disappointed he was in his season? Do we hear anything out of that?
No, I don't think he was disappointed. I think he felt he was balling. He was put in different roles. The team was uneven. There were all the COVID situations. He was forced to play in that 8-man unit, 2 games in Philadelphia. He's confident. The people are confusing a couple of things. He works hard. He is always in the gym. He is always putting in the effort. He has a very good private coach and trainer in California that he spends time with. He went to Vegas. He was with the Heat during this. But he also wants to be a star. And he has that right. And I know my comments have gotten me in trouble on this before. When I've said Tyler Hero has chosen to be a star. He has. It's his big personality. You remember what he wore on draft night. I mean, you can't come out in that outfit on draft night and then tell people not to keep an eye on you. We've seen all these kind of players. You've seen it in the NFL. Tyler Hero wants to be a star. He has his endorsements. He has everything. That's fine. As long as the work continues, as long as the growth continues. I do feel to a degree he backslid last year, but look, it was the COVID season. He had no offseason between his rookie season and his second season, barely 6 weeks to get going. So now we'll see when you put Tyler Hero back in the lab. The Heat were done the end of May. They're not starting camp till September 28th. What did he do in that intervening period that now you can say to yourself, okay, this kid shows something? And that also goes into the extension decision. If I know if I give him 4 or 5 years at $163 million, he's going to work in year 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bam has showed us that. Now we have to see it from Tyler.
The other guy we just talked about a little bit, KZ Okpala, and you've explained that he's in a 3-year contract. So this is his 3rd year. The Heat have to be incredibly disappointed on what's going on with KZ. And I know Mike Brown was gushing over his defense and all that when he was coaching Team Nigeria and all of that. But have you been able to talk to anybody in the Heat organization, and have they been able to decipher what's going on with the kid and why he hasn't had any improvement on the offensive end?
Yeah, you know what? And they say he's been rushing things and that he hasn't had the game slowed down for him. Oh, you know this is what it's like for a player in football, for a running back. When he doesn't set the hole, when he doesn't read the gaps, and he's just going 1,000 miles an hour. You've seen guys who you say, wait, this guy has unbelievable speed. What an incredible body he has. He should be doing more. And instead, he's running horizontally instead of vertically and getting nowhere. That's the KZ Okpala experience. He plays hard. He puts a lot of energy out there on the court. He's trying to do right, but he's just running around sort of to a degree like a chicken with his head cut off. I don't mean that condescendingly. Don't pick up that one soundbite, but that's what it looks like. He can defend. He can be disruptive. That's not enough. There's a term in the NBA, a player is a 3-and-D player. The reason they call him that is this. They don't have much else to their offensive game, but they can make the 3. Bruce Bowen, Keith Askins, eventually in his career, Dan Marley. Those players are valuable in the NBA. But if you're not the 3 and just the D, you're way too one-dimensional. A matter of fact, I would put it the other way. If you're the 3 and not the D, you still have a contract. Hey, let's go talk to Duncan Robinson and all these other guys who are loading up. Wayne Ellington, a lifetime NBA contract. But if you're just the D in today's offensive-oriented NBA, sort of like a running back who can't catch the ball because he has 2 boards for hands, eventually you're going to wind up out of the league.
Yeah. There's no use for you in this league anymore. In the 90s, they can save you at the back end of the bench and use you at the end of a game or the end of a quarter to help, kind of take care of business. But nowadays...
Hello, Keith Askins. Exactly. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yes. But nowadays, although let's give Keith some credit. He did
he became a 3-and-D. He became a 3-and-D player. Absolutely.
Yeah, he did. He did have the 3 game going on. Are you expecting anything different in the Heat's play this year? Will Spo kind of change things because it's a veteran team this year, and he's got to kind of, I guess, balance the minutes too?
Well, I think one thing will change, and you may, although I don't think Max Strus plays today, but the Heat are closing out Summer League today, 3 o'clock versus the Dallas Mavericks, ESPNU. I think the thing you'll see now this season is this. You will always have a must-guard 3-point threat on the floor at all times. That's what Max Strus has grown into during Summer League. So I think last year when Duncan went out, you said to yourself, who's going to make the threes? Is it going to be Kendrick Nunn? Is it going to be Tyler Hero? When they had Kelly Olynyk, is it going to be Kelly O, or even before that, Myers Leonard? But you never had that Duncan is out, who makes the threes? I think with the Heat this season, you will always have a 3-point spacer because I think Max Strus has proven, at worst, he can give you 18, 20 minutes a game as that spacer. So that's a huge change for the Heat right here because they brought in some guys who aren't really 3-point threats. So you have that concern. You still have Bam's not a 3-point threat. Jimmy's not a 3-point threat. So I think that changes. I think they will get into their set offense better because it's not Bam having to be the playmaker from the elbow. It's not Jimmy having to waste 8 seconds on the shot clock advancing the ball. Kyle Lowry will get you to the ball, get the ball to you in the right place. He'll make the pocket passes. He'll find the shooter. I think offense will be easier. My concern there is, and it's interesting, I just said last year when Duncan Robinson went off the court, they were at a 3-point deficit. I think this year it'll be a huge adjustment when Kyle Lowry goes off the court and Gabe Vincent comes in and plays point guard, or your backup point guard comes in. So I think that'll be something that Eric's going to have to work through. Maybe there isn't a point guard. Maybe Jimmy does become the de facto playmaker during those minutes. Maybe Bam becomes the de facto playmaker during those minutes, and they play more with two shooting guards with Tyler Hero and Max Strus and do it that way until Victor Oladipo comes back. So yeah, Eric Spoelstra, I think, has new challenges this season. It's not a matter of running it back. There's so much personal turnover. Camp's going to be really important for this team this year, even with veterans, because they're going to have name tags to start camp, and they're going to have to learn each other.
All right, last one. We'll
Sure.
wrap it up with this, Ira, and we're going to go completely off the beaten path here. You just mentioned his name, actually. Myers Leonard. He was in the news last week because he was joining a Jewish organization to understand more, obviously, after his incident and everything else. He's not in the league. He's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody offered him a contract. Listen, I have a problem with a lot of this stuff, with a lot of these guys or women or anybody that ends up spewing some fashion of hate towards whatever group we're talking about. And then that person then goes to, try to join different groups to understand the people that he insulted and those kind of things. And I always find it to be a level of phoniness. I always find it to be PR work by that actor or the actress, the athlete in this case, or the politician or whatever. And I always find it to be some kind of a PR thing so they can try to get back into whatever it is that they do in life and try to be accepted again. Why isn't Myers Leonard being accepted? I'm just wondering. I have no problem with him never being in the NBA again, because for me, anybody that spews hate, it's not a mistake. It came from your heart. When that spews out, if you don't have hate in your heart, it doesn't come out of your mouth. At no point will it come out of your mouth. You can call somebody a jerk, but once you add the color to it of the religious, the nationality, the sexuality to it, we know what you are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering, when you look at his situation, what is it that the NBA is also saying, yeah, we want no part of this?
Because 12th men don't get second chances. Because great players in all sports, you've seen it. I don't know whether you want to go to Steve Howe back in the year in baseball or Lawrence Phillips or things like that. If you have ultimate talent, teams will always salivate at the talent, try to find a way to work around the problem. You don't do that for your 12th man, your 13th man. Myers Leonard was a guy who was a niche player for the Heat, who sort of resurrected his career after Portland. Then he fell out of the rotation. He did start in the finals when Bam was hurt, but that was an emergency fill-in. But when you're that kind of guy, why take on the headache? Why have to make the statement? Why have to say he's a different person? Why have to have the Orlando Alzagari-like doubters out there wondering if you're the same person? You've got to toe that line when you're a 12th, 13th, 14th, or 15th man, or else you just go bye-bye. Or else people say, hey, I don't need the J.R. Smith headache. I don't need the Dion Waiters headache anymore. Think about that. The guy won a championship with the Lakers. It was never seen again because someone else said, hey, we don't need that as our 12th man. We'll get a developmental kid. We'll get someone with no background at all and deal with that. And I think that's where Myers is right now. A team would have to be desperate for his skill set to bring him back. He made his money. He did his thing. He made his comment. Hey, if he wants to show he's a better person, you can always do that. You don't have to be an NBA player again to show that. Obviously, he still has a name and a forum to do that, so God bless him. But I got to tell you, and I think you say the same thing. If you're a GM and you're looking for him to sit on the end of your bench and might not even dress on some nights, who needs that headache? Life is about avoiding headaches. You know, if it was a little thing, if it was a little more in the community and you saw something tangible, if he saved a dog's life crossing the street or something, okay, he did something great. Something like this, you just don't do it for your 14th man.
All right. What are you working on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, Ira?
We're gonna recap Summer League today after the Heat play the Mavericks at 3:00. We're going to talk about the winners and losers of that. And then when we come back tomorrow with Inside the Paint by sponsored by Palak Rack City and talk to Clay Ferraro, we're going to go through Summer League and what mattered for the Heat, what was smoke, what was mirrors, go through that and say, hey, now we start this 6-week process of what goes on. So again, The 6-week ramp up matters for this team. A bunch of young players will be in the gym, but we also have to see the takeaway from Summer League. They can now sign players to what they call Exhibit 10 contracts, $50,000 guarantee. And, they haven't signed their two-way players yet. So we'll be looking into that as well.
All right, and G League is a full season this year?
Full season. The Heat will have at least 4 affiliate players. They could send players down. There might be some Omer Yurtseven minutes there. They're back at it with Sioux Falls, and they really have shown what they've done with the Skyforce over the years.
All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch him tomorrow for an hour, baby, with Clay Ferraro inside the paint, and he'll be back Friday right here for the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. He is Ira Winderman. Ira, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Big O. Talk to you again tomorrow and then again Friday. Thank you.
Got it. There you go. The great Ira Winderman. Love Ira, man. Good stuff there as always. I have no belief in Myers Leonard. I just don't. Once you go to those extremes, and I told you last week when I saw that story, and it was reported, it's like, you're Myers Leonard. Nobody would keep up with that. That's your people putting it out and your agent and trying to get some good PR out there. Next hour, we're going to be joined by Alan Poupart, okay? Straight from Dolphins camp. Now, I have it listed at 11:30. It could be 11:15. It could be 11:20. It could be 11:10. It could be 11:30. It could be 11:40. It could be 11:45. He's at camp. So it's when he's ready is when we're going to do it. And so it could happen at any time in this second hour coming up. I don't know when. So if you're a Dolphins fan, keep it locked in. Obviously, I appreciate all of you out there. And please smash the hell out of that like button. It is so important that you smash the like button. It is very important that you smash the like button. So please do that, because that helps us, helps the algorithm, helps put the show out there more, and more people will check it out, and we can continue to grow this big family that we have here on the show. Dougie Fresh says, number 1, divorce, number 2, demon, number 3, diva. Okay. Rich V says, good morning, Big O and fellow Big O heads. There we go. I dated a woman who was a 3 and D. You do not want to know what that means. Okay. Tyon says, Big O, help me understand why we draft a player that predominantly plays tackle in college, then move him to guard. Lots of players have played another position when they get into college. When they get to the NFL, Lyle Collins, they used him at another position. Laramie Tunsil played guard his first year for the Miami Dolphins. Michael Dieter helped out a little bit at tackle his first year as a rookie because he was kind of bouncing around a little bit. And the poor kid, had an experience there at tackle. But he was a trooper, man. Didn't complain. He wasn't a Minka bitch and complaining. This has happened in the history of the NFL. Tons of linemen have come in their first year, and because maybe they weren't ready or there was somebody there in place that they were more comfortable with, they played them at another position for a couple of games, half a season, an entire season. This is nothing new in the NFL. Happens all the time with linemen at times that, hey, where you're at right now, the coach drafted you and you're going to be the guy, but at this moment, you're not ready yet. So they've got a guy that is probably a little bit better trained and positioned to have a little bit more success right now. But even though they know the God-given ability, yours is better, but you're not polished yet. You're a little bit of a coal. You're not a diamond yet. Right? And so we gotta polish you up a little bit, and then you'll be ready midway through the season, the following season, those kind of things. So Tyon, if you're still listening there, because I know you sent it in while we were doing the interview and maybe you're not there anymore, but this is normal that guys move around a little bit. So I know that the Eichenberg thing, and they've got him at left guard and all that. Let me tell you something. Solomon Kinley plays well here over the next couple of days against Atlanta. And then they go out and he goes out and has another solid game. He's going to lock up that spot, because he's got the experience, and that's his natural position. So because Solomon Kinley wasn't convincing them yet, that's why they threw the kid in there to give him some competition. So what will end up happening is they'll move Eichenberg back to the right side and have him compete with Jesse Davis at right tackle. That's what will end up happening, because you'll start grooming him. And then if Jesse Davis has some kind of an injury, you move the kid in. But remember, the other thing, Tyon, that you're forgetting in this whole equation, Eichenberg is not comfortable on the right side. He's a left tackle, not a right tackle. So for him, he has to habitually learn everything to the right side because he's used to everything, the way he sets, the way he drops, everything on the left-handed side. So now he's going to have to do it on the right-handed side, and that's also going to delay his transition to that position. So it's not that simple that he belongs on the right side. He has to be trained to play on the right side. So it's not that. So since he's lefty right now, because he's so used to playing left tackle, they throw him at left guard because they're settled in at left tackle. So that's why, that's the method behind the madness, and why they say, okay, there you go. And they're happy with Hunt at right guard. So they don't want to, he has no shot at starting at right guard. So why force him to play that position? They weren't comfortable with the left guard with damn it, now I'm forgetting his name, with Solomon Kinley. So that's why they threw the kid in there. That's all. That's kind of part of what's going on. So it's not black and white, man. There's a lot of gray area here. And the Dolphins are kind of, going to kind of fight through all of that. But again, none of this happens overnight. You don't develop a line overnight. You don't develop a line in a week. It takes a while to develop a line. And again, I know that we get back to this whole what's it called, patience thing, and it's really hard for Dolphin fans to have patience. But I'm going to beg you, have a little patience, okay? All right, let's do this. Let's take a 1-minute break, and hour number 2 is next.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, we are back for hour number 2. A couple things to fill in. Let's see. No Jesse Davis today at practice. Ethan Carter, with the knee injury he suffered at the Bears game, he is out. Brandon Jones, the safety, I like him. He's back at practice with the ankle injury. Omar Kelly also notes that cornerbacks Jamal Perry and Tony Ellis are working with the safeties now. And no Javaris Davis, no Beagle, no Eichenberg. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let's see. Not spotted. Carter, Ford, Jesse Davis, Javaris Davis, Beagle, Eichenberg, Brandon Jones is back. Let's see. What else do we have here? Poopart says Dolphins practice attendance report. Eichenberg and Brandon Jones are back. So Eichenberg and Brandon Jones are back. Missing is Jesse Davis, Isaiah Ford, Jalen Askew, Vince Beagle, Javaris Davis, Ethan Carter, and of course the injured receivers that have been out for the last couple of days. There you go. Those are some of the notes so far in Dolphins camp going on right now. Let's see what else. I don't see anything else. No Parker, no Fuller, no Wilson. And it's a walkthrough, by the way. It's kind of it's a light practice today, and yet some of the injured guys can't even participate. So there you go. And that, I don't know if Jesse Davis missing today is just precautionary and then they just want to save him. Let's see. Oh, and Omar says Brandon Jones is not working. He seems to be doing a rehab assignment. Okay. All right. So Brandon Jones not completely back, just doing rehab there on the ankle. I like him, man. I hope he's able to get on the field and make some plays this year. Let's see. Big O, is Austin Jackson really that bad, or how can he be a starter? The coaches must see something the press doesn't. Richard, if you watched it, yeah, there were times he was out of balance. There were some times he actually did his job. He hasn't been perfect. He wasn't terrible last year, So again, I'm not going to overreact on Austin Jackson. I'm going to wait to see a bunch of games with him before I overreact. I'm not going to overreact after one preseason game that he was up against a pretty tough matchup in Robert Quinn. And the number 50 kid was actually pretty good too. And so he wasn't his best. He did enough in the passing game. He did nothing in the running game. But again, I'm going to wait. I'm not overreacting on this and all that he's and terrible is, that's a little harsh. Let's give him some time here. I'm not ready to give up on the kid right now. So they obviously like something about him. They keep him there and they're not having competition for him. So it seems like they're pretty convinced that he can get the job done. It's just a matter of experience. Alexander says, Big O, what do you think of Richmond Webb? Does he have a chance for the Hall of Fame? I think he has a chance. I don't know if he'll get in because they didn't win anything. And it seems to be an issue when you didn't win anything whatsoever. And your team, I think the other thing that's also going to hurt Richmond Webb is they were never a great running team. They were always a great passing team. And Marino's radar, he wouldn't hold the ball long, so he made offensive linemen's jobs a little easier. And while Richmond Webb and Keith Sims were freaking fantastic, they may not get the praise they deserve because some of the things that I've talked about. So, listen, man, if Zach's not in, Richmond's not getting in. If Kuchenberg's not in, Richmond's not getting in. That's my problem with all of this. And these are all guys that I think they all belong in there. But meanwhile, the Marks brothers aren't in there. Kuchenberg's not in there. Zach's not in there. There's a few Dolphins that we could easily say they belong there, and they're not there. Pat Surtain's a great corner, man. Do you make a case for Pat? Make a case for Sam? Sam got a Super Bowl. Let's see. What else do we have here? Nope, nothing new out of camp coming in. Would like to see Eichenberg play some left tackle. He can't be any worse than what we've seen from Austin Jackson. Well, they got him for right tackle. Now, I've talked about this. Since Eichenberg is comfortable at left and Austin is considered a really good athlete, put him on the right side and put Eichenberg at left tackle. Why don't you do that? But I think stuff like that won't happen until down the line that they're convinced that Austin Jackson's not the guy. I don't think they're even close to being convinced. But again, some of you are already quitting on Austin Jackson, which is typical because people quit on Gesicki his first year and they quit on Tua last year. And so, I guess, if Austin then comes out and kicks ass, then he'll make people eat their words again because you jumped the gun like they did with other players. And it seems like that's what's going on here. It's almost like, so somebody struggles, that means that they can't make the game, they can't play. So if somebody struggles, they can't play, we've got to bring in other competition. Okay. All right. That's kind of the reasoning now. We don't actually allow people to work through their issues, which, by the way, most of us get to work through our issues at our different jobs and things like that, that you struggle with something and they let you figure it out and become a better employee, right? So, but here it seems like some Dolphin fans, the second a player struggles, right, for a short amount of time, okay, no, we've got to now change the player and he cannot play. Because that's what seems to happen. That's it. No, Gesicki, he had a rough rookie year. No, he can't play. That's it. He's done. Where are all those people that were slamming Gesicki? It's the same ones that will slam into Tua, and those people will start disappearing too. And now Austin Jackson's the new flavor of the week. And we're not giving the young man, the opportunity to kind of adjust to everything. It's amazing, man. It's amazing how people quit on these players like so quickly. I'm not out on Austin Jackson. He needs another year to develop, but every game counts this year. Every game counts every year. You won 10 games with him last year. Last time I checked, right? And Michael Dieter didn't do anything for 2 years. And now's when he's actually showing you something, and he's at center, a different spot. Just this kind of stuff it's hard to predict, and overall it's like, we watch people constantly quit on some of these players, and you're quitting on them way too early, man. Way too early. Let's see. Webb protected a first ballot Hall of Fame QB, and he deserves a spot in Canton. I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you several Dolphins that we can make a case for, and they're not in, man. JP says, why not sign Mitchell Schwartz, Austin Reuter, the center? I guess they don't like him. Jesse Davis has a bum leg. We need to trade for a tackle. Trade DVP and Jakeem for a tackle. Well, Devontae Parker, I don't know how much he's going to bring in the open market. A lot of you are quick to trade Devontae Parker, and you make it sound like you're dying to get rid of him. And so which shows that you really don't value him, but you think somebody else is going to value him and give you a pick. That's the interesting part. And then, yeah, it sounds great to, go trade for a tackle. What tackle's available? Who's willing to give you a starting tackle for Parker and Jakeem Grant? I'd like to know. It's nice to say that. It's great fantasy talk, but we live in reality. So where's the reality to all of this? Who's got a spare starting tackle that needs a returner and a wide receiver, and they're willing to take, Parker's salary and Jakeem's salary? I mean, Jakeem's salary's not that bad considering what he produces, but the other guy's always injured. I mean, so your trash is somebody else's treasure, is basically what you're telling me. Oh, Webb is on all the 90s teams. If that's not Hall of Fame material, what is? Troy, I'm not arguing with any of you on Richmond Webb. I'm just telling you. I mean, the guy's been retired for years, and it's not even mentioned. We hear about Zach. We don't hear about Richmond. And he retired before Zach. We don't hear about the Marx brothers anymore. I'm just giving you the facts. That's my problem with all of this. It's not that I want Zach in there. I want Richmond in there. I want the Marx brothers in there. But it seems like they don't want him in there. Zach's the one that I think has a shot. That's the one guy that I think has a shot out of all of them. The other guys, I don't even know if they make it, to be honest. Again, not that they don't deserve it. I just don't think they'll be allowed in, unfortunately. How about moving Robert Hunt back to right tackle, Austin Jackson a right guard until he gets used to playing to the right, and Eichenberg to left tackle? Now you want to change the entire line now. Yeah, I don't think that's radical. So no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to keep it on where it's at right now. Don Parlamento says, got in late, I think we have to work with what we have on the O-line. Too late to bring someone in from the trash heap. That's the problem, that it's not like people have spare tackles to start. And, hey, I got a spare tackle, and I got a spare tackle, and I got a spare tackle. They're not just sitting out there, man. The great thing about Webb is he's a great human being, and he really takes the time to talk to his fans. Richmond Webb is one of the classiest people you will ever meet in your life. It's just amazing, amazing human being. And let me tell you something, Richmond Webb was like that as a player. This isn't like, the guy retired, and as he's getting older, we all get kind of softer as we get older. We get a little more emotional and all that, and we kind of let our guards down. No, that's not Richmond Webb. The same Richmond Webb you run into now is the same Richmond Webb I covered his entire career. Okay? Same Richmond Webb. Keith Sims, same effing dude, bro. You go meet Keith. Keith is money, bro. Money. Just great, great people. Both those guys are two of the classiest people I've ever had to deal with. They were never rude. Ever. Like some guys, you could get them in a bad mood. Some guys after a loss, in a contract dispute, whatever, and you can get the bad side of them for a moment or two, and you can excuse it too, because that's happened to me. I've seen guys that were in a bad mood, and I got it, and even some of them later on would say, hey, man, I'm sorry, dude, I was in a bad whatever, and it's cool. And we're all human beings. None of us are perfect, and we're not ever going to be perfect for everybody else either at times. We're going to have our bad moments, all of us. Not Richmond Webb and not Keith Sims. It doesn't happen, dude. It could be a loss. It could be a long week. It could be an injury. It could be maybe they're struggling at that moment because they have an injury or whatever. You got the same Keith Sims and the same Richmond Webb every day that you've ever run into him. Okay? Same dude, man. Great people. God, those were two amazing human beings. Okay? Let's see. What else do we have here? Billy Milner was a bust. You know, when I met Billy Milner, Andrew Green and Billy Milner came in at the same time, remember? And so I go meet Billy Milner, and I'm talking to him. And when I'm done, I'm like, okay, Billy Milner needs to run my financial portfolio. He's not supposed to be a football. That's what I like. That's exactly what I said. Like, wow. It's like, this guy's a football player? No way, bro. That guy's an investment dude. That guy's too smart to be. And not that football players aren't smart, but he carried himself. And I don't know what Billy Milner ended up doing with his life. Okay. I have no idea. He might be a painter right now, as for all I know, but he was a really cerebral dude, a smart guy. And it's just like when you walked away from interviewing, it's like, yeah, this guy doesn't come off like a football player. You know, it was just one of those things with Billy Milner. Yeah, Billy Milner and Andrew Green both were Those weren't good picks for his shoes. Those were pretty bad picks, unfortunately. Big O, you should get Webb on the show. I've had Webb on the show. I love to hear stories about his playing days with Marino and playing against Smith. Yeah, but remember, he's not going to get anything. He's not going to give away anything juicy. Okay, I know Richmond. So if you're hoping for dirt, he's got too much class. He won't do that. You know what I'm saying? Just to warn you, just in case. Oh, spot on about Webb. Me and my uncle went to an event a while back. I was a kid. Now I'm 36, but now Webb is one of the nicest people. He actually sat with me and my uncle for over an hour and had a great convo. And there aren't many people on planet Earth better than Richmond Webb. Those are the facts. I know I'm not better than Richmond Webb. Okay? Forget about player. I'm talking about human being. He's at another level, man. I'm telling you. And it was a pleasure to deal with as a reporter. It was a pleasure because, sometimes you can deal with real assholes at times. Richard McLean, do you think the Dolphins just being cautious with Wilson, Parker, and Fuller and feel 2-week period after the third preseason game will be enough? No, I don't think so. I think they would like to get them on the field, and they're being careful with them, but I think they want them to practice. I don't think it's one of those things like they're ready to go and they're just holding them out. I don't think that's what's going on. I think they have legitimate injuries. And I think they would like to practice them even a little bit, but just to get them in there. Okay? David K says, Eichenberg is in at right tackle. Well, I mean, Jesse Davis is out. So they should use Eichenberg at right tackle. That would make sense. Just for conversation purposes, do you think Byron Jones might be looking over his shoulder at Nick Needham? No. Let's see. What else do we have? Richmond Webb is definitely a gentle giant until he puts pads on. Exactly. Exactly. NorCal says, Big O, you're one great human too. Finlaw Alzagari. Well, I appreciate you, NorCal. You're too kind, my man. You're better than I am also. 162 watching and only 81 likes. Come on, everybody, smash the like button. That is true. That is true. We got 161 watching. Let's go. Please smash the like button. Let's see what Omar Kelly says. Let's see. Jaylen Phillips being brought back from injury slowly. He's got a article out there. Barry Jackson says Eichenberg opens up at right tackle and Kinley at left guard. Though Davis is not here today, he's not injured per a source. His absence is nothing remotely bad or anything to worry about. Jesse is a model citizen team guy. Yep, that he is. He is correct about that. Hunter Long was present for warmups. Alan Poupar is reporting, but he's nowhere to be found now as the Dolphins begin their walkthrough. With Jesse Davis absent, Eichenberg lines up at right tackle with the first team offense. But again, it's a walkthrough. So this is something that you're not really being tested. Mental reps, at least you need to know where you're at and all that kind of stuff. You need to know who you're blocking at times, things like that. But outside of that, no. Jesse Davis not at practice today. Liam Eichenberg, who is nursing a shoulder injury, is working at right tackle. Eichenberg has spent most of camp at left guard. Solomon Kinley is right there now. Okay. Anthony Chang reports today at 3 p.m. the NBA will announce the national television schedule across TNT, ESPN, and ABC for the opening week and Christmas Day. That means the release of the 2021 and 2022 schedule. Okay. All right. So those are some of the things going on at camp right now. We will wait for Alan Poupar to join us. He should be joining us soon. There isn't much really as a practice to report today because we're talking about a kind of a walkthrough. Nothing goes on in a walkthrough, unfortunately. Walkthroughs are only mental reps for the players so they can go through the plays. And that way, when they practice, then they are already trained to go through that play, and then now they can do it full speed in practice. This is obviously less than half speed what's going on when you're preparing all of this. Big Drip Entertainment says, homie stole your drip, yo. At least tried you to yo. So glad YouTube suggested you, yo. I have no idea what that means, but I guess your homie stole your drip. I don't know what homie stole my drip. I don't know what that means. Who stole my drip? Somebody doing something that I'm doing? I don't get it. You got Big Drip. You got all this stuff about drip in there. Big Drip. You got to tell me what that means, bro. You got to decipher what you're telling me. I'm a 54-year-old fart or old fart. You gotta decipher that for me, bro. Now we're getting LOL and laughing. I figured you guys would be laughing at me because I have no idea what you mean by that. So yeah, Don says that needs translation. I need translation. Oh, I love your discussions with Omar. It's his negative view of our line too soon. Yes. But I've done this with Omar over the years. He gave up on Jay Ajayi in his rookie year. Right after the season was done, he gave up on Jay Ajayi. He says, no, I don't see you starting back there. And I said, dude, he actually played well at the end of the year when he got, healthy from his rib. And I know he's got a knee that isn't a long-term deal. Like he's not a long-term player, but I like him. You got to give him some time. And then he came back the following year and he had 1,100 yards. He gave up on Jakeem and he still hasn't given Jakeem the love that he deserves. Omar does that at times. He does give up on some people a little too early. And I've had this conversation with him in the past. And so, I think he might get burned again by the O-line because you got to give these guys some time before you actually find out if they can't play, man. Those are lyrics. Oh, okay. All right. I think he's talking about your last employment. Okay. I'm not sure what that still means from my last employment. Leonardo is just laughing at me, which that's fine. Most people do. Paul Curry says, Big O, how come Dolphins never draft a QB in the late rounds for competition and a project? Well, I mean, first of all, this is a new staff right now. We can't measure. We got to leave the past in the past. These guys, they already traded for Rosen and they got Tua. So they've gotten 2 quarterbacks in 3 years, right? So they do actually, they're trying to first find a frontline quarterback. You know what I mean? And then you can go experiment in the next year or two after you solve your starter. You know what I'm saying? If you have 2 guys that are competing for the same job, you may not have 1 guy. You know what I'm saying? So usually and I know everybody wants to pull out Tom Brady, but usually your late round picks aren't really going to make that much of an impact. Okay. Let's see. Let Eichenberg sink or swim at right tackle. Well, right now it's a walkthrough. So it's not like this is something that Eichenberg, it's a big test for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you, Big O. I turned 58 last week and I have no clue what that means either. Big O don't know what Big Drip ent ya means. I don't. I have no idea. I have no idea. Okay. All right. That's just drip style. Oh, nothing personal. Oh, I actually didn't take it as, I think he's talking about something, I don't think Big Drip is talking about anything that's like negative. You can tell, you know what I mean? It's just one of those deals. But I'd like to know what the hell he's talking about, so at least I understand it. That's all. All right, it is time to talk a little football. And, we love talking football on this show. And, of course, it's the Sports Grill, Miami Dolphins Insider Report with the one and only, yes, sir, Alan Poupart. And, of course, you can follow him. You see the Twitter handle right there, Poupart NFL. He is at camp. And I guess everything to report has been reported, right? Because it's a walkthrough, so you're not really going to learn much there today, right? It's one of those boring practices.
Very much so.
Very much so.
I can actually take some time away from it and walk away to a nice location with no sound because there's really nothing going on.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the guys who are not here, guys who are here, for example, Liam Eichenberg being back. We saw Brandon Jones make an appearance, but that was only for warm-up. Same with Hunter Long. And then Jesse Davis not being here. Well, we don't know exactly what's going on with that just yet.
Right. Okay. Now, I saw the press conference, and I think I nailed it a couple of days ago when I talked about this. And you guys were like delving into what was going on with the play calling and all that stuff. And yesterday I kind of talked about it, that I love the way Flo has set it up with the offense and defensive coordinators telling Charlie Fry. And Charlie Fry is a guy that's played the game at this level. He knows what he's seeing. And I think the best guy to talk to Tua and tell him to play and then give him a tip or something that he sees. I love that coming from Charlie Fry. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I thought it was really cool the way the coach explained it to everybody, how you got one guy seeing the front side of the play, the back side of the play, another guy seeing the lines and all that stuff. I thought that was really killer insight on everything going on. Your thoughts on all of that?
Well, yeah, it was interesting, but it certainly would have been nice to know, to get some kind of determination as, okay, well, there has to be some guy who's the one calling the plays, really relaying that play to Charlie Fry, who then relays it to Tua. And Flo absolutely will not go there. And basically he was asked point blank, why not? Why is it you're refusing to divulge that information? He basically reverted back to his desire to keep everything internal.
Wait a minute, but I have your answer.
Go ahead.
Why the hell should he tell you which one of the 6 guys is saying it? Because then the opponent knows, and then they'll have that sumbitch on the other side with the binoculars focused in on the guy, trying to read lips, trying to figure out anything. Because you know how it is.
Oh, come on, Big O. Come on now. Come on.
He's got Belichick in the same division. He's got the ultimate cheater.
Come on, Big O.
Cheater in the division.
Oh my God! I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. Holy moly! I hope you were joking, because that's way out there, my man.
I'm today. I'm not Orlando. Today I'm Oliver Stone. Not
got it.
So there you go. See, he has to prepare, because in the division he has the ultimate cheater, so he cannot give away who the hell's calling plays. I'm with Flo on this, bro. Keep it top secret. I like it. Well,
in that case, Oliver makes a good point. Or Big O, I think, would probably agree there's really no purpose other than wanting to be secretive, which is the same deal we're dealing with injuries, where everybody's day-to-day, even the guys who have been out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day when you asked a question about, I forgot who was injured, and and you go to him, is that one of those day-to-day things?
It was Ethan Carter, the tight end, and guess what? He's not out there today.
That's it.
No, he actually volunteered something major based on our standards today, when he said that Alan Hearns at some point is going to go on IR because of the wrist surgery that he has to undergo, and he's going to be out 3 months. Now, the question is he going to go on IR before the cut to 53? Likely. That means he's out for the season. Or do they keep him at the 53 and then put him on IR, which allows him to come back at any time after 3 games? Again, my guess is it's going to be IR before the cut to 53, but that's not been determined yet.
Right, exactly. And I think it would make a lot of sense what you're saying. I mean, he wasn't really going to make this roster. There's going to need to be a lot of injuries before. Although where I feel bad for him is he would have made somebody else's roster, because he's a really solid, damn it. He's a sure-handed kid. He helps you move the chains. What's the word?
Possession guy.
Possession guy. That's it. He's one of those cats. And a lot of people could use a guy like that. I don't think it was needed on this team right now because they were deep enough, but he would have made somebody else's roster, I think. He's one of those guys that we were talking about that they had a plethora of receivers. He was one of those guys I think would have found work somewhere else. You agree?
I agree. He's a good, solid veteran who's not going to be a difference maker, but he can help you in a pinch if you're having injury issues.
Yeah, and move the chains and things like that. I think they have a younger version of him in Isaiah Ford. So that's kind of, you know what I mean? If they're going to choose. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say who's also not at practice today, which on a day when the Dolphins have to make roster cuts is always a little bit worrisome if you're a fan of his. However, considering how short they are at wide receivers, they need the bodies for practice reps to begin with. So I'd be very surprised if he was among the 5 cuts that they have to make today.
Eichenberg's move, is that just to fill in for the walkthrough you're feeling, or did Solomon Kinley do enough that, like, hey, you know what? Because I thought he was actually one of the better players and I know that's not saying much for the line, but I thought Kinley played all right when I watched the film. Do you think Kinley kind of got back into the good graces to get that left guard spot?
I think he's in the mix. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Eichenberg lands a starting job as a rookie, even though, as we've discussed before, that would be really, really problematic considering that, they traded up and gave up a 2022 third-round pick to get him. But I don't think he's a lock. I think if Jesse Davis is fine physically and once it gets back into action, that's your starting right tackle. I'd be very surprised if they went with Eichenberg. Again, you're making the transition not only from college to the NFL, but he was a left tackle at Notre Dame. You're asking him to switch to the right side and protect Tua's blind side. Don't think that's really, really ideal.
All right. Since this is the first time we have you on this week, your thoughts on Tua, man? I love what I saw. The one pass, I get it. He was a little late on that. I was screwing around a little bit. I was wondering, did he think like Marino on Saturday? Because he's like, well, I just threw that guy a beautiful pass that he dropped earlier in the game. Let me see over here. Oh, no, I got to go back, and it was a little too late. I almost thought about, did he have a little Marino in him and say, yeah, I got him open, but let me go check over here where I got a one-on-one. And then when he came back, the Venus flytrap closed on his ass, and it was done right there. But your thoughts on Tua?
Well, a couple of things on the pick. I mean, Shaheen was wide open right away, and there's a camera shot from behind Tua where you can see he's looking at Shaheen, and I have no idea why he didn't throw the ball quickly. And then the first pass to Shaheen, to me, was one of his worst throws of the game because it was catchable, but that to me it wasn't a great throw. It was a little bit too far ahead, but he made some really,
it was in
really
his
good
hands.
throws.
It went like he had both hands on it. You got to catch that. You got to catch that.
He had to dive for it, number one. Number two, he had a DB on his back once he got his hands on it. That was not a good throw. Sorry, I'll disagree with you on that one. And then
you got to. I think a lack of vaccine really hurt him on that one. But go ahead.
We had to go there. But outside of that, I thought he was, borderline brilliant. He had some throws. The third down completion, the long throw to Gesicki to me was no big deal because the protection on that particular play was ridiculous. He had all day to throw.
No, but it was beautiful touch. But it was beautiful touch.
Again, he had all day to throw. I'm sorry. Again, to me, he had 5 other throws that were better, and none better than the third down throw to Gesicki, where Gesicki wasn't really open, and he just put it right beyond the reach of the defender to allow Gesicki to make the catch. That was brilliant. The third down throw.
Wait a minute. You mean he made the catch with a DB on him that Shaheen couldn't make? Is that what you're saying?
Did I not say that?
I'm sorry. Oh, so
okay.
We give Shaheen praise. Come.
No. Two differences on that play. Two differences on that play. Number one.
Okay, there we go. We're back. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
There you go. Come on. 2 differences. The one on Shaheen, he threw it farther than he needed to because Shaheen was a little bit open. Okay, that's number one. It was a much tougher catch than the one Gesicki make. Okay, so, dude, I'm with you. I thought Tua had a great game. I even wrote a column saying why Tua's debut was such a success. Okay. And then the third down throw to Mac Hollins when he literally right after he threw the ball, he had Austin Jackson falling into his legs, and the window again also was not very big.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, then that window also wasn't very big. He also did a great job one time escaping the rush, kind of moving his feet, dancing around the pocket, and then dumped it off to Malcolm Brown for a 7-yard gain or something like that. I mean, I will go as far as to say I was not impressed by Tua in any game last year the way I was impressed with him Saturday, and that includes the interception.
Are you serious? That throw against Arizona was an absolutely freaking phenomenal last year.
What I said,
where he throws
Omar,
the
I'm
DB.
talking about the whole game. I mean, Omar, I'm sorry, Big O. Big O, I'm talking about
I
the
know, I
whole
get
game.
that, but that zone of game, he had some plays in that zone of game, dude. I thought he actually played a pretty good game in that one, and that throw he made. What's the name of the DB that's from here that he's in Minnesota now? He read it perfectly and threw it opposite to Parker on the other side. And he had anticipation and everything. That was a sick ass throw on his part. And that's the one thing that I see with Tua, I've seen from day one. And that's the thing that I think people are they're going to learn about him. I think he's going to be the craftiest quarterback they've had back there in forever, actually. I don't even know if they've ever had a guy that can move around like him and buy time. You know, Marino could slide a foot or two or whatever and make it amazing with his arm. But this kid, I think, is going to be the craftiest quarterback they've had ever back there in the pocket. I really believe that.
Okay, but don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying he didn't have a good game against Arizona. I am telling you,
I get you.
I don't recall him making that many really, really impressive throws and decisions in any game last year as he did against Chicago. I mean, I was, I had my reservations about him heading into the season, and he showed me a lot in that game against the Bears. It was, as a preseason debut went, it was as promising as it could be.
Yeah, I think the kid's going to be a badass. I'm not worried about that, but I am worried about the O-line, which they kind of did enough to give him time to pass, but man, they could not move anybody off the ball. Your concerns right now with the O-line?
Well, I hate to pinpoint one guy, but to me, Austin Jackson is like every time Tua dropped back to pass. Jackson's guy was in the backfield next to Tua. It was rough.
Yeah, he was reaching out of balance constantly. Yeah,
yep.
I know.
And even was it the first play where he was called on the penalty? Immediately at the snap, he leaned forward against the pass rusher and got himself out of position. Wound up having to grab the guys as he's going around him. And it's like like I said, every single time Tua went back to pass, it was rough. I didn't like the play of Adam Pankey either. He was rough in protection as well. Who was a guy who maybe you were counting on to be one of your top backups. That offensive line is problematic. There's no question about it. But to me, the biggest concern right now has to be Austin Jackson.
I thought Kinley played all right. I thought Hunt played all right. And I thought Dieter wasn't actually bad. I thought he did a serviceable job there at the center. Now, he also struggled to move people in the run game too, but I thought he did pretty well. I thought he did decent, let's say, at that spot. Your thoughts on the interior?
No, actually, I thought they were fine, and that's going to be an issue with Dieter. He's not a road grader. That's not his game. That was his issue as a rookie, and that's probably going to be his issue with him throughout his NFL career. What he's got to make it up with is good technique and fundamentals and pass protection. I will tell you one play I think that people might look at as an indictment of the offensive line was the run for a 2-yard loss by Malcolm Brown on that 3rd and goal from the one. Well, if you look at the replay, what happened is you have a couple of guys who were chop blocking, and it created a big gap that allowed the linebacker to shoot through it and drop Brown. And then you have a lead blocker on the play who was Carl Tucker, who went to the left, and Brian Flores said the day after the game that it was a missed assignment and it wasn't on the offensive line, and I don't see anybody else in the vicinity, which leads me to believe that Tucker's assignment was to pick up the guy on the backside, not necessarily straight ahead, and that was more than the blocking elsewhere than the offensive line. But it looks bad on the offensive line because the result is still a 2-yard loss. So I'd say overall the offensive line wasn't horrible, but the pass pro was very spotty, particularly when it comes to Jackson, as I said before.
Yeah, there was more penetration than in a porn movie on that line there during that one. All right, let's when we look at the wide receivers, I was talking a little bit about it. It's almost become a little bit of a what's it called? It makes it a little easier with some of the top line guys out because those guys are going to end up making it. But when you start looking at it, do you think it's 6 or 7 guys? And I'm looking at Waddle, Fuller, Parker, Williams will probably start on the pup list, so he'll buy a spot for somebody. Hollins, Grant, and then it's down to Foster, Bowden, and Wilson kind of fighting for that 6th spot, or do they add a 7th? In that area, because I know that Hollins and Grant help you out on special teams. Bowden and Foster help you out on special teams. Albert Wilson doesn't help you out on special teams. How are you looking at the wide receiving core right now?
Yeah, that's a tough race. I can tell you I've been doing this for a very long time. I think I may recall one time when a team had 7 wide receivers on the roster. So let's just say it's extraordinarily rare. And I think they also have a lot of depth at tight end where they might keep more than they normally would. So to me, the idea of keeping 7 wide receivers, I have a hard time seeing that. And I think of the guys, it kind of fluctuates to me as to which wide receivers look more impressive. Albert Wilson got off to this fabulous start, but then he got quiet a little bit, and now he's been hurt. Robert Foster was a guy who, to me, absolutely shined for quite a while. Now he's been a little bit quiet. Bowden hadn't done nothing in training camp at all. His wide receiver was kind of cautioning reporters, don't count him out yet. He's going to do better in games. And, well, guess what? He showed out pretty well in that game against the Bears. And I love what the kid did last year when he got chances. I think he's electric in the open field. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough call. I also think the possibility of a trade is out there. Ideally, you'd be able to do it for a good, solid offensive lineman, except those don't grow on trees. And teams are generally not really keen on the idea of dumping one because they have a surplus. First of all, because surpluses usually just don't happen.
Who the hell? Right. Who the hell has a surplus tackle? I mean, come on, dude. That's just hard to find. It's almost near impossible. But
I definitely could see one of the wide receivers getting shipped for a late round pick, 6th round pick, or conditional, right. One of those deals that I could see. But yeah, to me, it's too close to call. It's like a couple of weeks ago, I would have told you there's no way that Albert Wilson doesn't make the roster. Now, I still think he probably makes it, but I don't think he's a slam dunk he was 2 weeks ago. Bowden's back in the picture. I was ready to write him off maybe last week or so. So, it's going to be a really tough call what they're going to do there.
It's going to be interesting. Anything else you want to add from camp before we wrap it up here on the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report?
Nah, can't think of anything that jumps out. I will tell you, glad to see Jaylen Phillips back out of practice today because he's a guy I'm very, very, very high on the kid's potential. I think he could be a complete stud for that defense. So good to see him back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete, man. And if Agba, is going to be focused like a werewolf because it's his final year of his deal, so he's got to ball out. And if he balls out, he probably gets a deal 3/4 of the way into this season. I could see them actually agreeing to an extension once they see him kick ass again this year. I don't think if they want him, I think they re-sign him before the season's done. You agree with that?
I completely agree with that. I think right now it's a wait and see. Let's see if last year was just an aberration. Let's see how much of it was a result of our schemes. And let's see if he's a guy that we absolutely don't want to move forward without. And like you said, yeah, I absolutely could see them. And they've done that in the past. So it would make logical sense for them to give him an extension if he gets off to a good start.
I know that Landon Roberts is coming back from an injury. Do you see anywhere in your mind Landon Roberts and Benardrick McKinney being on the same team? Because I don't. Because neither guy helps you out in the passing game. Neither guy's a pass rusher. They're both kind of run stuffers. They're kind of 2-down linebackers. And I think McKinney's the better one at that. Even though I love the way Landon Roberts sells out on plays. I mean, he had some of the bigger hits last year before he got injured. Can you see that happening, that those two guys with their limitation are on this roster, or it's either or?
I don't think it's necessarily either or. The other thing I would say about Roberts is I think he's a guy who's very good in the locker room. And I think there's some value to that. What my best guess right now would be, though, is that Roberts is going to start the season on PUP, just
Right.
like Preston Williams, which gives the Dolphins like 6 weeks to further evaluate what they're going to do with that situation. At that point, he can start practicing. Then there's a 3-week window where you have to make a call on him one way or the other. So there's no need to make a decision right now. But I would not necessarily close the door on having both Roberts and McKinney on the roster at some point.
All right, there you go. You see his Twitter handle right there, Poupart NFL. He is Alan Poupart. You can catch him here twice a week on Tuesdays and on Saturdays for the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you taking some time and dropping the knowledge.
Anytime, Big O, or should I say Oliver?
Oliver today. All right, brother. You be good. There you go. Good stuff. Alan Poupart. There you go. I'm telling you, that's it. Flo's not giving any of that information because he's got the stinking cheater, and he knows what the cheater does. He knows that the cheater's got like 8 different binoculars in the stadium, microphones everywhere that are hidden, right? Microphones and cameras in the locker rooms. I mean, Belichick might have even cameras and microphones in your hotel room. So why is he going to give away who's calling the plays? Right? Because then the Patriots have like 8 snipers with binoculars trying to read what's going on. Hell, the Patriots might have somebody in the facility right now where the fans are sitting taking notes. All right? That's what's going on. So Flo doesn't trust his former boss as far as he can throw him. So he knows that guy's dirty. He says, hell no. I'm not allowing this to happen. I'm not telling these guys what's going on. Because then they'll write it, and there's Belichick finding out. Tell me I'm lying. What else do we have here? Marino has visited the QB room and told Tua, you are holding too long. Stop telegraph. Okay. Barry Jackson tweeted, Davis is out because his wife had a baby. Congrats to Jesse and his day. Oh, I didn't see that. That's nice. That's very cool. Good for him. Let's see. Nick Needham is working the nickel today. Who said Nick Needham nickel yesterday? Somebody told Omar nickel for Needham. We got to talk to Omar about that now. C. Dola says, I agree with you big time on Belichick. Of course, bro. You know? And Drew Boo says, Flo might do a little dirty too. No. Flo's a stand-up man, okay? All right? Don't be trashing Flo here on this show. Okay? Miami Kid J says, people go back to that Arizona game. A lot of deservingly too had nice throws, but that's just one game. We need more from him. I thought he had an okay game. I was hoping he'd stay in Saturday. He played a lot. He played more than I expected. He played well. Played really well. Outside of the one interception, outside of he played well. And I disagree with Allen. Love Allen, but I disagree totally with him. Okay, Shaheen should have had that ball. It hit both his hands. You got to catch that, dude. Gesicki had a dude hanging on his ass too, and he hung on to it. Tua put the ball where it needed to go, away from the defender. Get your ass on that ball, dude. Catch it. I don't give Shaheen a break on dropping that pass. Hells no. So, what else do we have here? Truth Seeker Chris says, should have drafted Telvin Jenkins. Yep, everybody comes out. Should have drafted this, should have drafted that. Let's see. Big Drip says, let me see. I don't know. Now, see, now you Big Drip, you're I can't read this stuff because I can't understand what the hell you're saying. Now you're talking in code to me, bro. Michael Monahan says, Larnell Coleman looked good at tackle. Do we give him more time this week? I mean, I'm sure he'll get plenty of time anyways. He's one of those guys that you're kind of like a project guy. So he's going to get plenty of time, especially in the second half of the game. So I would imagine that he's going to get it. Now, as a starter, no, I don't think he's going to get that kind of time unless somebody like Jesse Davis can't play or something like that. That I can see. But I don't think that they'll give him time with the starters, if that's your question, sir. Shaheen should have caught that pass. You're in the NFL, bruh. That's it, Ian. I'm with you there. Coach Flo will give you nothing and take everything. I like his style of coaching. I'm with you, man. Wilson is not a fight for a 6th spot, Big O. Disagree completely. Wilson's not in the fight for a 6th spot. Disagree. So you're saying he's not in the spot? Well, then you're really not disagreeing with me, because I've said that Albert Wilson's not making this team. I've said that from day one. I didn't think Hearns or Wilson were going to make. If everybody's healthy, I don't expect them to make the team. Why didn't I expect them to make the team? Because if you're going to keep your backup receivers, they've got to help you in other areas. And Albert Wilson and Allen Hearns do not help you in anywhere but wide receiver. So I'm not sure you disagree with me at all. I'm just saying that for that 6th spot, Wilson, Bowden, and Foster are probably fighting for it. Now, do I give Wilson the nod over those guys? No, I give Foster and Bowden the spot over them because they help you out in multiple positions. Bowden helps you out in multiple positions on offense, and then also helps you out on special teams. Foster helps you out as a receiver and helps you out as a flyer gunner on special teams. So there you go. Okay. I thought this was pretty cool. I know some of you out there, especially guys like Adam Shaheen are going to be against this, but I thought that was really cool that the Falcons have become the first NFL team that is 100% fully vaccinated. Now, does that mean that everybody in training camp is fully vaccinated, or does that mean the guys that you kind of expect to be on the 53-man roster are fully vaccinated? I'm going to take it that everybody at camp is fully vaccinated, which is really cool on the Falcons' part. And in the end, this is what's going to happen, folks, right? The Raiders, I saw yesterday or the day before. No, it was yesterday. Raiders are going to require proof of vaccination to attend their home games. I love that. And I get it. Some of you out there that are anti-vaxxers, you're going to hate this. And that's understandable. Okay. We're going to disagree, you and I, on this. I mean, personally, for me, everyone should have the vaccine. The only people that should not have the vaccine is somebody that obviously has a medical condition that cannot, take the vaccine. That's understandable. Outside of that, the rest of the world should be on the vaccine so we can eliminate this thing and we can save lives too. You know what I mean? I'm kind of tired of watching the news every day and they're talking about all the COVID patients and that most of them are unvaccinated. And those are the people. And we're losing Americans. We're losing people worldwide to a political thing when this has nothing to do with politics. This has everything to do with a health concern. And this is great stuff by the Raiders that you only want people vaccinated in the building. I love that. Create a safer environment for your fans. I hope concerts do that now. I hope movie theaters do that now. I hope restaurants are doing that now. I think that's where we've got to get to that point where, hey, listen, man, you want to be amongst other people? Well, then you got to be vaccinated. That's it. You're too much of a risk. The more vaccinated people we have, the less the virus is going to float around. The more unvaccinated people we have around, the more that thing is going to fester and kill people. At least we know whatever is left of the virus, with everybody vaccinated, we know most people are not going to die. That's the good thing. But the unvaccinated are clearly at risk. And apparently this variant has gotten, or this variant of the virus has gotten worse because it attacks your lungs directly and all hell breaks loose. So congratulations to the Falcons for becoming the first 100% fully vaccinated team. This may also motivate other teams to get to that point because, believe it or not, it's going to end up becoming an advantage, a competitive advantage. And whatever teams are carrying around more and more players that are unvaccinated, that's not to your competitive advantage. And let me tell you, if it's some of your superstars that are unvaccinated, man, you are putting your team at major risk. So I hope this is the direction that we're going in, because this makes a ton of sense. We can agree to disagree. For those of you that are anti-vaccine, it is what it is. But that's how, I feel about this. Let's see. What else do we have here? Australia released their COVID data. 91% of people who died were over the age of 70. The players will most likely be fine. Yeah, I know, radically. That's why, the state of Florida leads in children. I think it's close to 200 children are hospitalized right now. But, I mean, it's not important, right? It's not important that actually more people that are in their teens and 20s and 30s are now getting sick more than ever. But let's keep focusing that it's only old people dying. And by the way, I guess 70 and older, they're not important either. How do we justify any age group dying? I'm not exactly sure how to take that comment from radically there. Not exactly sure how to take that one. It's like, I love how we just sidestep that stuff. Yeah, the people that are dying are over 70. Screw them. They're close to death already. They were close to dying anyway. Yeah. Yep. There we go. So between the NBA and the NFL, hundreds got COVID and were perfectly fine. Yeah, that's right. Eventually, somebody will catch it, and the numbers will tell you somebody's going to die. That's just the way it is. It just hasn't happened yet on the athletic side, at least with famous names, and that's why it hasn't affected the sports world nearly as much. But that doesn't take away from the fact that there are younger people catching this thing now. And there are younger people actually dying from this thing right now. Where before, the first variants of it weren't affecting young people nearly as much. Now it's affecting young people more. And if it affects one, that's too much already as it is. I'm not sure how people don't care about putting anybody at risk. You know what I mean? So I look at it from the economist standpoint. The youth are the future. Yeah, I get it. You look at it at a point like, I don't really give a shit about old people. I get it, but that's somebody's parents and grandparents. The people you don't give a shit about, there's family members that give a crap about. I have a friend of mine that lost his mom. She had no business dying. She was just old, but she probably would have lived another 10 years. And COVID cut it short in her late 60s. I have another friend that lost his mom and dad. Both were healthy. They were old, but they were healthy. They would have lived another 10 years easily. So that's 10 more years of holidays and 10 more years of birthdays and 10 more years of being around their grandsons and granddaughters. I mean, it's really amazing how we just don't care about certain groups of people. It's old people. Screw them. Whatever. It is what it is. Screw them. Finally got my first dose back on the 11th, going for my second dose on the 1st. Enough is enough of this damn virus. Way to go, Mike Dizzle. Nice job by you, sir. Appreciate it. Ryan says, talk about fear-mongering to the T, Big O. Will be pro camps in no time. There you go. Of course, Ryan. You go to the extremes, baby. Enjoy it. Don says, that's total crap. I am in healthcare, and I've seen multiple people under 50 die from COVID, all unvaccinated. Of course, man. But, those that are anti, they will convince themselves, and until it affects them and somebody near them and their family members, that's when everybody changes their tune. I mean, it's littered now with people on social media, right? And it's not the media, it's social media. People that are dying of COVID that were anti-vaxxers, and now they're saying, people, this is real. This is real. Take it serious. And it's like, it's too late at that time, right? So it is what it is. What are you going to do? If you are not vaxxed, you're not putting people at risk. LOL. Vax is for personnel protection. Vax does not spread or acquisition of C-19. Please study. Yes, you are at risk, my man. You are at risk to spread it. And you're at risk to die. Now, if you're vaccinated, you're at much less risk of dying. Those are the facts. You're unvaccinated, you're at a much higher risk of dying. You're vaccinated, you're at a way lower risk of dying. I think that's the only equation you need. But again, some people are never going to ever, reach that. Big O for president. Martin, I've got 5 stents in my heart. You just want to kill me off to be president. That's the worst job in the world, dude. Being president, who the hell wins? Look what's going on now. Trump started the whole thing to take the troops out of Afghanistan, and I'm not a Trump guy, but I totally agree with him on it. And now Biden is finishing it off, and now people are complaining. It's like, dude, that's their war, not ours. I've never believed in the U.S. being involved in the Middle East. Those people have been fighting for thousands of years. You're not going to change those fanatical people. That's why the second you pulled out, they went back to their old ways, because that's what they are. That's it. That's what's been going on in the Middle East for 2,000 years, dude. You're not changing it. And I got to tell you something. I'm not one of the fathers that has a son or daughter over in Afghanistan. We've sacrificed way too much over there, bro. This is, it's really simple. Okay? It's really simple. Anybody in a Middle Eastern country messes with us, you turn their country into glass, and it's over. That's all. Somebody tries a 9/11 again, you turn their country into glass. It's over. Simple. You don't need to be there in the middle of that. We're not going to solve anything, dude. We're never going to solve anything. The Israeli and the Palestinians, we're never going to solve any of that. We're never going to solve any of that hate and fanatical and all that stuff that goes on in the Middle East. It's not our fight. I'm with Trump and with Biden on this one. Get our people out of there, bro. Get our people out of there. It's not our civil war, man. Nobody was helping us, and they're not going to help us. So why the hell why are we sacrificing Americans over there? I'm all for it. Get them out, bro. Get them out. I'm sorry. It is sad. I mean, watching those people hang on to the plane and they were falling off from the plane, which, by the way, I'm kind of like, do you understand that you can't hang on to a wheel well? That, it like, whatever. I mean, wow. I am total, pull them all out, bro. All out. That's not our fight, man. That's not our fight. Sorry. I'm not all for that at all. So I'm happy we get our Americans back here and keep them safe over here. We're never going to solve anything over there, ever, in the Middle East. Ever. It's just the way it is. Radically says, I don't like them attacking Biden on Afghanistan. Doesn't matter to me about attacking Biden and Trump started it and Biden finished it. They both did the right thing. Get our people out of there, bro. Get our people out of there. All right, enough of this. Anyway, what's it called? If you guys want to get in, many ways to reach out to us. YouTube, of course, you can chime in. If you want Twitter, Big O Show. Yahoo email, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Cash App and Venmo, it's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, baby. Reach out to us there. Marlins, by the way, got throttled by the Braves 12-2. Jazz did get a home run yesterday. And Isan Diaz also got a home run. That was the bright side of it, those two solo shots. But unfortunately, it snaps their 4-game winning streak. Tonight, Sandy Alcantara will be on the mound, and 7:10 first pitch for that. What else do we have going on here? Miami Hurricanes are listed at – oh, by the way, I did take a break, did I? Did I take a break for the top of the hour for hour number 3? I don't think I did, right? Let's do this real quick. Let's take a 1-minute break. Hour number 3 is next.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the program. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, for keeping it locked here. And, I don't want to get too much into the political stuff. Let me see, what is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, it was late on the YouTube there. Anyway, don't want to get too heavy on the political stuff, but it's just one of those things that I guess crosses you once in a while, and so you got to comment on it and say your piece. But I don't want it to dominate the show, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk a little sports and get away from the regular bullshit that we face every single day of our lives. Miami Hurricanes are ranked number 14. I've seen 14 and 16 in the rankings in the top 25 preseason poll. And to me, in the end, I've gotten to this point with the Canes, and we're going to have Manny Navarro join us in this hour. He'll join us at 12:30, and we'll talk all things Canes. To me, I've kind of gotten to a tipping point with the Miami Hurricanes football program. And what I mean by that is it's almost like it's all the Peanuts teachers to me talking. I know, wah. I don't care about the rankings anymore. I don't care about what Manny Diaz says anymore. It means nothing to me anymore. They had the scrimmage the other night, and they were talking about the stats and how Derek King played, and it meant nothing to me anymore. None of this means anything to me anymore. I need you to first prove to me that you can actually get it done. And then your words will then carry weight for me again. I bought into the Manny Diaz hype when they brought him back from Temple, and I thought this was the perfect addition for the University of Miami football program. I thought for sure this is the guy you want leading your program. He understood the Miami program, all that kind of stuff. He's well aware of the history, obviously being a part of this town, so he knows. And and the one thing I love about Manny, I will say, is that he wants this program to be great again. And I love that about Manny. And the other thing that I love about Manny is that he could be the real deal, as in long term, actually, instead of a guy that has success for a couple of years and then uses it as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. I don't think that's what Manny's about. I think he's one of those guys you can keep him here for a long time to come. But before we get ahead of ourselves with all of this stuff, you have been a severe disappointment for 2 straight years. It's been so disappointing in my eyes that everything else has been erased. I don't care about anything else. I need to see results. So to me, it's one of those things where it does nothing for me that they are ranked 14th, because in the end, you have shown me year after year that when you get in the big moments, you're not going to be able to beat those kind of teams. You can't hang with them. You're not even close. And think about this. We're going into the 3rd year with Flo, and we're expecting them to challenge for a playoff spot, right? The difference is with the U, we're hoping that they can actually challenge for the ACC. We know they're not better than Clemson. We know they're not going to beat Clemson, but we hope that at least they can beat North Carolina and put themselves in position to be up against Clemson. But really, how many of us are convinced they're going to beat North Carolina? Right? They've got the better quarterback when it's all said and done. I like the Eric King. I love what he brings to the table, but he can't do it all by himself. Right? So that to me, when I saw that story, ranked 14th, and a couple guys send me tweets and send me some DM posts like, oh, this is cool. They're getting respect, and I told one guy, they're getting respect. What respect do they have? And he got pissed at me, by the way. Oh, why do you have to be so negative? I go, I'm not being negative, dude. What's there to respect with Manny Diaz? What's he won? Well, it's a new year and this. Man, I don't buy that anymore. And that's my problem with Manny Diaz. In a short amount of time, I've already run out of complete patience with him. Because I have not seen, with Flo, he's already earned the benefit of the doubt with me. That's the difference with Flo. Flo's already earned the benefit of the doubt. I trust Flo. Do you trust Manny? No. I mean, you got to be an absolute blind-ass fan to trust Manny, because he's giving you zero to trust. It's been all hype and no substance. So 14th rank doesn't mean jack shit to me. Show me that you're actually prepared week in and week out. Show me you won't struggle against weak teams. Show me you can actually beat good teams. Show me improvement from one year to another. You haven't shown me any of that. And he's got problems at the end of this year, because you and I know Rhett Lashley is not staying. That guy's too good of an offensive mind to end up staying here. It's funny, right? If they actually have a decent year offensively, but don't have a great year overall as a team, and they kind of let you down again, do you know where we're going to be at the end of the year? Mark this down. Save this right now. We're going to be full circle. You know what I mean by that? When Mark Richt was coaching, there were already people that were, I'm not convinced Mark Richt is the guy, but I'm convinced Manny Diaz is a guy. We can't allow him to leave and take a head coaching job somewhere else. We got to keep Manny Diaz. That thought process was already out there with Mark Richt. and we're going to come full circle. If they're not impressive this year by the end of the year, and Rhett Lashley's done his job as an offensive coordinator, and he starts getting those offers, and the rumors start that he's rumored to this job and that job, Canes fans are going to be screaming at the top of every garbage mountain we have here in South Florida, because we don't have mountains. We have mountains of garbage here, which is pretty disgusting if you're going to stand on one of those mountains, by the way. But they'll be screaming, keep Rhett Lashley, let Manny Diaz go. Guaranteed. That's what's going to happen. Guaranteed, baby. So we'll see. Manny better get it done this year. He better convince, because this should be the end-all, be-all year for him. Now, there's no shot he gets fired, even if he does poorly. I've already told you guys this. We could all say, I know I will. If he disappoints again this year, I will say, you got it. He's not the guy. You got to change him. You got to go. Now, will they do it? They won't. There's no way Blake James, unless Manny commits crimes, there's no way Blake James fires Manny Diaz this year at all. So be prepared of that, just in case. If you're a University of Miami fan and you're going to want them to change Manny if they fail this year and they don't make any kind of improvement, trust me on this. There is zero shot that they fire him this year if he underachieves again. That's all I'm telling you. So you'll be stuck with him. But think about this. If I have run out of complete patience with Manny and all of this falls on deaf ears for me until he proves that he actually is a good coach, can you imagine how I'm going to be next year? Next year, I'll be at a point where I won't even care about the football season for the Miami Hurricanes, because I would already assume that I know what's going to end up happening. And think about this. If you got to think about this, okay? If Manny Diaz doesn't have a good year this year, doesn't beat North Carolina, doesn't win the Coastal, can't get into the ACC championship game, okay? If he does all of that and fails, and he loses Rhett Lashley, right? And he loses De'Ara King, where's he going to go next year? And I get it. Tyler Van Dyke takes over and all that, but, I mean, now we're going to put the weight of the world on the kid? That's kind of unfair. Because in the end, if you don't get it done this year, then that tells me, and think about this, you're 19 of 22 starters returning. How do you not get it done? How are you missing that many? How are you loaded with that many returning starters and not good? Think about that. So you're going to have a lot of new faces next year. You're going to have a new quarterback, and you're going to have a new offensive coordinator. And I'm expecting you to get better. And if you don't play well and you don't have a good year, you will not have an opportunity at the better offensive coordinators at times, because they may want to take other jobs. Because, Manny, you're on the hot seat now. Now it's 3 years of mediocrity, and the next offensive coordinator, well, what am I there for a year? Because they might fire the guy the following year, and they could after the fourth or fifth year. I could see them then releasing Manny Diaz at that point. A lot on the line this year, man. There's a ton on the line. Troy says, I don't think Manny is the guy to bring UM back to prominence. He's been a disappointment, to be honest. That he has. Dude lost against FIU and Western Michigan. It's a done deal. They need to bring a pro coach like when UM brought in Howard from Finns. Or they need I'm with Manny Navarro on this. Manny, I think, has nailed it. He has said it on our show a few times. The next time UM has to hire a coach, hire an experienced college coach, one that has already rebuilt programs and built programs and won at a high level and those kind of things. Find that guy and bring him in. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Because if the pro coach doesn't know anything about recruiting, it's going to be really, really tough. And when Howard did what he did, It was a different era at Tremolio. At that time, people weren't even going into Liberty City and other places to go search for talent. Howard's the one that broke that ice. That ice is already that ice is thawed out and done already. The rest of the country goes into, different neighborhoods here in South Florida to go get talent. So that stuff is over and done with. That was lightning in a bottle. It was caught at that moment, and that's it. I don't think that's hiring a pro coach is actually the advantage. I think hiring an experienced college coach is everything, because an experienced college coach has connections on the recruiting side. A pro coach is not going to have any connections on the recruiting side and is going to have to learn it all and develop it all, and that takes several years to do. So you and I would disagree on that one for sure. Manny, like that nice girl, like that girl with a nice personality. He's likable. I will say that. Manny is likable. No doubt. Alfredo says, you think Sony Michel becomes available for the Dolphins? If so, he's an upgrade. I think he's curious. I think he is just curious. What do you think? Alfredo, I'll tell you this. I was a big Sony Michel fan coming out of Georgia. I no longer want Sony Michel anywhere near the Miami Dolphins. Okay? And it's not because I don't think he can't play. Oh, he can play. He's got talent. But the dude is brittle. He breaks down all the time. Sony Michel has had more injuries than yards in this league. So I don't want anything to do with Sony Michel, my man, at all. Sack of injuries. Yeah, he's got talent, but he can't stay healthy. So I'm just not a fan of guys that have no durability whatsoever. That's my problem. Remember, you can reach out to us on the YouTube channel. Smash the hell out of the like button. It is very important that you smash the like button. Chime in on the YouTube channel if you're watching. Twitter, Big O Show. Follow us there. You can comment on anything. I got the Twitter page open. Yahoo email, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. And you can also make a donation to the program at Cash App and Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Troy says, do you think Lane Kiffin would have been a better choice than Manny? Right now, yes, by miles. Miles and miles and miles. He showed me more at FAU than I've seen from Manny at the U. Anybody going to argue that? Would you say that Lane Kiffin was more impressive at FAU than Manny has been so far at the U? I would say so. At least the dude, he did what Butch couldn't do. He dominated that conference. Did it a couple times. Butch couldn't even do that, but Butch can't coach. Some of you still haven't figured that out. Some of you UM fans. I mean, really, some of you out there that are such Butch lovers, man, any of you out there already regret your Butch comments by now? About the U should get him, and he's such a difference maker, and he's absolutely amazing, and all that, and he can't even dominate a crappy conference? I'm just wondering by now, have you had enough proof that he's a mediocre X's and O's coach? And obviously, he had his one run as a recruiter with the U, and it's over. He never won anything in North Carolina. Nothing. The only thing he could do at North Carolina was beat Randy Shannon or Al Golden. That doesn't take a lot. I'm just wondering by now, are some of you UM fans, are you willing to admit that you were in your stupid phase thinking that actually Butch Davis is a good coach? Yeah, I said that. Stupid phase. Ridiculous. Silly. Uninformed. Homer. Blind ass fan. I'm just wondering, how many of you University of Miami fans finally are willing to admit, man, I was wrong. Holy crap, Butch Davis is mediocre. He wouldn't have done jack squat for the University of Miami. Seriously, come on. Because you can't be that dumb at this point when he can't dominate at FIU, never won jack at the University of North Carolina, and you still think he could have done something in Coral Gables? I mean, seriously, come on. The ignorance can't be that deep and that thick, right? I mean, come on. Let's go. Admit it by now. Butch Davis ain't anything, dude. He had his little run. That's it. That's fine. Whatever. Doesn't make him a good coach. He just had a nice little run for a moment. Yeah, Butch Davis did great for UM. Again, you're not answering my question. Yes, he did great recruiting then. What did he do at North Carolina? What's he done at FIU? So it clearly states that you got to be pretty stupid to think that he was actually going to make UM special. He can't make FIU special, and he certainly didn't make North Carolina special. Seriously, come on. Admit it now. If you don't admit it, then, what can I tell you? Ray says, Manny Diaz, good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Herman says, Big O, are you going to the Dolphins-Falcons game? No, sir. No, sir. I'm going to avoid as many crowds as possible. Okay? If I have to go work where there's a crowd, it's because I have to work. And since I don't have to work, I can watch it from my house and do my job. Actually do my job better from my house than at the stadium because I can take notes, I can rewind, I can do so many things that I can't do at the stadium. You know what I'm saying? So no, I have no desire to be anywhere where there's crowds if I don't have to. So if I have a choice, I will stay away from crowds. Unfortunately, man, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. And yes, I am vaccinated, but I don't feel like catching it. And I certainly don't want to risk spreading it to somebody else. So I will continue to do my part and try to maintain my distance, wear a mask where I have to. I mean, you know what? And you know what taught me the other day when I went to the Green Day concert? I went to the Green Day concert and I was double masked and I was paranoid the entire time. And I kept making sure that I was separated from people and I didn't want to be next to anybody. And after the experience of the Green Day concert, I said to myself, you know what? I don't need this shit. I've been to 8,000 concerts. I don't need to force myself to be in these kind of situations. And I've seen Green Day before. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it and concerts down the line, if I've seen the band several times, I'm going to pass it up. Until we get through this damn pandemic, I'm going to try to limit the opportunities I have to be in groups of people. That's just the way it is. All right, let's do this. We got to get to our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report with the one and only Manny Navarro. We will do that in 60 seconds.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. Time to rock and roll and talk a little Canes right here. Manny Navarro, of course, you can follow him on Twitter. You see the Twitter handle right there, Manny_Navarro. More importantly, please subscribe to The Athletic and support Manny and the great people there at The Athletic. They do excellent work, and they deserve your support. Plus, Manny, of course, gives you great coverage of the Canes. Plus, you get a lot of coverage nationwide, too. So take advantage of The Athletic. Manny, first of all, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Getting ready for the kids to go back to school tomorrow. So I spent the morning taking school supplies over to the elementary school. My 6-year-old and my 10-year-old are all excited. They're going to be going back. Meanwhile, mom and I are like panicked because of COVID. So
I know. Yeah, exactly. And they're going to mask up, right? You're telling them to mask.
Yep.
Yeah. It's got, man, it's got and your kids are young, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's actually a good thing because you know what's really bad? Can you imagine being a senior the last 2 years in school now?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Manny, but brother, I had a blast in high school. Like I freaking tore it up the 3 years. I'm old, folks. We only had 10th, 11th, and 12th. Okay. We had no ninth graders in our building back in those days. That's junior high, not middle school. Okay. Back in those days. But my 3 years, Hialeah High was a party school, and I had a blast. And I was thinking about this the last year and then thinking about it this year now. If I was a senior during this time and this ruined my senior year, oh my God, dude. It was that's really rough for those kids. Right?
Well, my oldest, this 5th grade is the year that they all go to Disney World, right? They do it's kind of like, grad night. We used to have it in high school, but they do this in elementary and middle school now. And so she's like, they better not take my trip away to Disney, And I'm like, listen, we don't know where we're going to be come May, June next year, So
yeah, it's crazy. I was just talking about that now that the other day when I went to the Green Day concert, I was double masked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the stadium. And I get it, open out and all that, but I didn't care, dude. I didn't want to be amongst people. And I found myself paranoid the entire time trying to situate myself where I'm away from people and I didn't want to be next to anybody or anything like that. Because even though I'm vaccinated and everything, but I still double masked. And I said, screw it. And, I've come to that point where if I don't have to work the event like you do, then I'll watch it on television and I'll stay away from crowds, dude. Do you find yourself like that too now?
Yeah, when I went to the ACC media days in Charlotte, there were a lot of people not wearing masks, and yet, I tried to make sure I always had mine on. And I know there were people who went home and were sick. They got COVID after the ACC media event. So, I'm worried. I'm worried about going to stadiums. Atlanta, first game, Miami, Alabama. We're in the South.
Yeah. And that'll be packed.
Yeah, and the airport, so nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, they wear the mask right on the plane, but I'm talking about as far as keeping distance. Like, no, it's like everybody's on top of each other. Getting in line, trying to be the first off the plane. So it's one of those deals where I don't know. I just you worry because you're going to be close to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. All right, so news comes out. Canes are ranked 14th in the AP poll, and I was, I talked a little bit about this before you came on, and it almost like I was numb to the news. Like, it doesn't mean I was talking about this because none of this means anything to me anymore. Nothing that Manny says, nothing that Manny does, no ranking until I actually see the results on the field, right? It's just, we've talked about this. It's kind of like the Peanuts teacher just talking to me. Wah. And it's sad, bro, that I'm at that point right now with this guy as badly as we all wanted him because it just felt like this was the natural, transition.
Well, again, I just, this is a subject that, you talk about hiring Manny Diaz and making him the coach. I questioned it from the get-go just because he didn't have any head coaching experience. I felt like, you want to go after a guy that's got head coaching experience. That said, there's really not a lot of great candidates out there anyway. There's not a lot of guys who want this job and want this responsibility with all the expectations. So I think he's as good as you're going to get right now for where the University of Miami is at overall as a program. Mario Cristobal probably would have been my choice had they actually gone and done a real sort of search, because Mario at least, spent years at Alabama with Nick Saban, is a very good recruiter in South Florida. But hey, this is who you got. You got Manny Diaz now. He's the guy. And like you said,
and Cristobal, by the way, is proven and accomplished.
Right.
Right. That's the difference there. You know what I mean? Proven and accomplished. All right. This is a guy that was going to bowl games at FIU. All right. Now, so it's not just Oregon. You know what I mean? To me, that's kind of the knock on Butch Davis, where all these fans are so enamored with him. And it's like, dude, he never won anything in North Carolina. He couldn't even dominate at FIU. Lane Kiffin showed me more by dominating in that conference. And then he moved on to Ole Miss. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he showed me something out of that. Cristobal has shown me. I haven't seen anything from Manny. But here's the thing, Manny. Here's where your life is going to be really interesting at the end of the year if he doesn't live up to the expectations. And we're going to come full circle. I talked about this before you came on, and you tell me now. If he doesn't live up to expectations at the end of the year and people want him gone, which you and I know they're not going to fire him no matter what at the end of this year, unless he's committing crimes, he stays here. But the way we were a couple of years ago when Mark Richt was coaching, and we all were like, well, wait a minute, dude, man, he's showing a lot as a defensive coordinator. Oh, man, that's the future. We got to make sure he doesn't leave and doesn't take another job. He's got to be the guy. Yeah, some people already wanted to fire Mark Richt to hire Manny. You know that. You know what I'm talking about. You're going to get the same thing about Rhett Lashley now. Because if Rhett goes on to have a good year this year, but the team doesn't have a good year, but he does his job like he did last year, then all of a sudden people are going to say, you can't allow Rhett Lashley to walk out the door. You got to fire Manny and hire Rhett. That's what's coming at the end of the year if Manny doesn't live up to it. Agree or disagree?
I completely agree. I think if they have a big season offensively and they go 8-4 or 7-5 and you're just like, why is the defense terrible? That's definitely going to be what we hear here. But again, nothing's going to happen, right? Because we know he's got 2 years left on the contract. And so, yes, it can spend very negatively here for Manny as we move forward. I'll say this. So I think, after hearing about Sunday's scrimmage and talking to a couple of guys behind the scenes, I don't want to say that the coaches are nervous, but I certainly think like they look at the talent and they're like, okay, we still got a way to go. I didn't get any reports back that made me feel like, okay, these guys are ready to take on Alabama,
Wow, because that's what I was going to ask you. Like, because I don't believe anything the coaches tell me. Whoa, we did this in practice. I get out of here, dude. Unless the media and the fans are there, I don't believe it because they'll be honest about it. So I was going to ask you about that. So there wasn't any real impressive stuff coming out of this scrimmage.
Well, I think what was impressive was that De'Eric looked like De'Eric. Is the consensus that I got, that he looked like the way that they want him to look. Now, they feel better about the receiver.
That's still not enough because he
right defensively.
You're right. It's just I'm glad De'Eric is De'Eric, but I kind of count on De'Eric already. I'm not. It's all the other stuff that I need to count on.
Right. No, I think defensively, I think there's still ways to go, and it's the linebacker and defensive end. It's the two areas that we've been identifying since I've been coming on the show talking to you regularly. I think it's obvious that those are two areas where they still have to grow and get better. And we won't know until we get to see with our own eyes. Look, today will be an important day from a reporting perspective in the sense of, okay, where are guys lining up? First unit, second unit. We'll get a better idea, while we get to watch for 40 minutes, if any of the freshmen, because they raved about the freshmen, right, in the freshman receivers in Sunday scrimmage. Jacoby George had 7 catches, 127 yards, a touchdown, all that kind of stuff. They were raving. We'll find out today whether or not any of those freshmen are really in the mix, because if they're not running with the first or second team and they're still in the third team, then to me, that's Manny Diaz releasing the information that he wants released in his 2-minute interview after the scrimmage.
Yeah, and at the same time, you go, well, the freshman receiver tore ass. Well, then how's your secondary doing then? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I know they went up against the third team. They were going up against walk-ons and other freshmen. So this was not Tyreek Stevenson and DJ Ivy and Bubba Bolden that were giving up 127 yards to Jacoby George.
I don't want to say confidence level, because what is the kind of buzz that you're hearing from the players for this Alabama game? Because obviously most of us are counting them out, and they've got to know that most everybody's counting them out, including
Right.
Las Vegas, because they're nearly a 20-point, underdog with all of this. I'm just, because usually athletes, they love using things as motivating factors, and
Mhm.
I'm wondering how much of the diss is a motivating factor for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think old school days, right? You'd think the old school Canes would be riled up, ready to go kill somebody, right? I that's not Miami anymore. They're not they're not those guys, I mean, not just from the way that they play, but I think the attitude. I think that you still have a couple of guys that represent that old attitude. I think Ernesto Silvera is a guy that kind of reminds me of that old nasty Cane type of attitude. I think Derek King, from talking to him, he has every motivation to go out there and play great, because he's trying to prove to NFL teams he can play quarterback. And what better tape is he going to get than doing that against Alabama? So, I think individually you have a couple cases, though, but this is not Jerome Brown and, any of those other dudes out there.
I wish. Just give me Crumb Crusher. That's all. I just give me the Crumbster. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even need Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying? Just give me some of that flavor from the past.
That's the thing, is that on defense, they really don't have that guy, right? They really don't have anybody that you look at and you say, yeah, that guy's nasty, right? There's just, I mean, Bubba Bolden last year, the Clemson game, you have the image of the bloody nose and him blocking the field goal, and you're kind of like, but that's what they're missing in my eyes. They're missing that beast on defense, and I think they've got them. They're just freshmen. They're Leonard Taylor and James Williams. Those are those guys that are going to develop into that. But I think right now, in terms of the guys that are going to play, I don't know. I've been around this program long enough. You followed them long enough to just what that guy looks like, and I don't see that guy right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I don't even see him on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel Bratton and Michael Irving were those kind of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about the soldier, but the soldier brought an attitude to the table. You know what I mean? I know he's going to be serving a lot of jail time, but my point is he brought that attitude, and it's kind of like you want those kind of dogs in there, and you don't see a lot of that. Now, not to give away this article, because we want you to subscribe to The Athletic, but you talked about 4 breakout candidates in your article.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Give me one of those 4. Give us one of those 4, so that way people then have to go read for the other 3.
Sure. I'll give you one of the 4. I'll give you the guy in the photo. That's Keontra Smith, who is one of those guys on defense that Manny really wants to break out, and be an important player on this team. He's a little undersized. He's, 5'11", 205 pounds, probably 210. And they've probably been able to get 5 more pounds on him here during camp, trying to beef him up for Alabama. But he played well in the scrimmage, from what I understand. 4 tackles, pass breakup, and he's by
the way, Maurice Crumb Crusher was not a big guy. Since we just talked about him, he wasn't a big. The Fly. What was the kid's name? The little linebacker that we called him the Fly.
I mean, Rohan wasn't very big either.
Rohan either. Yes, exactly.
But he's fast. He plays in the box, and he makes plays. He tackles, and that's what you need at that position, right? You need somebody who can wrap up. My problem is I close my eyes and I say, oh my, this is Alabama, right? They've got 360-pound guys. What are they going to do running at Keontra Smith? Like, what is that going to look like on the field? And I just, for Miami fans, I cross my fingers and I said, man, I hope it's not as bad as my dreams look,
Yeah, that's where you need Jerome Brown and Russell Maryland in front of him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I like the D tackle rotation for Miami. I do. Look, it's not Jerome Brown and Warren Sapp and a bunch of, Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame type players, but they're solid college players. They got 4 solid guys there in my mind. I think Nesta will get drafted. So to me, you got a decent defensive tackle rotation, where in years past, man, let's face it, that position was pretty bad. I think Manny Diaz done a better job recruiting it since he's been here.
No, I'm with you. I think that the tackles are all right. Their problem is going to be the ends, and
Right.
then that's going to serve up your secondary if you can't get any
Any pressure.
pass rush out there. Do they have a linebacker that you feel they can count on as a pass rusher at all?
Wow. Corey Flagg is good at tackling in the middle linebacker spot. I don't think he's really a guy that's going to provide pressure. Keontra could blitz off the edge and get to the quarterback. But again, he's a small guy. He's not, to expect him to beat, big dudes and get around them easily is probably a tough ask. So I don't really think so. I don't think there are elite pass rushing linebackers on this roster. Again, that's the toughest position to recruit. Linebacker nowadays is the toughest position to recruit. And
why is that?
I just, because the game at the high school level has turned into spread, right? They're lining up with 4 wide receiver sets. And so you only have one, right? And most times that linebacker who's out there is asked to drop into coverage, or to blitz. And so to me, there's not a whole lot of tackling. There's not a whole lot of development of read and looking at a hole. And it's hard. It's a hard position to coach. And so many kids don't want to play that position. They'd rather line up and play defensive end and go after the quarterback all day, So
right, money.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah, get the quarterback, get the money. That's what it's all about. All right, what are you working on over at the Athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, man, listen, you mentioned the article that I had out today. I just put out a new podcast yesterday as well. It's with Charles Fishbein of Elite Scouting Services. We talked a lot about this roster, just breaking down who the best players are talent-wise. And so that's fresh, the Wide Right podcast. You can download that Apple Podcast or wherever you go. It's everywhere. And we're gonna have more stories from practice this week. Today, like I said, is a big day. I'm interested to see where everybody's lining up, what they look like, who's hurt. There's always the mystery of who's hurt. Zion Nelson, by the way, did not play in that scrimmage, so that's something to watch. He's your starting left tackle. He's been out of practice now for I think a week, and I saw from some photos that he was in regular clothes, short and t-shirt. He wasn't out there on the field in uniform. Ja'Kai Clark's another one who we knew about would be out, but Al Blades is another guy everybody asked me about. What about Al Blades? He was in shorts and t-shirts. So I'll have reports from practice this week. We'll get a chance to talk to some guys, and hopefully as we get closer to this thing, we'll have some more interesting reads. I got some stuff I'm working on. I just don't want to reveal it all yet.
All right, there you go. And he's always working on something, always great insight with the Canes. And you can catch him twice a week here with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report. And go visit Brett and all the great people out there at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Remember, when you order over $99, you will get free shipping. And go to caneswear.com 24/7. You can order there at caneswear.com. Call them 954 835-5597. That's 954-835-5597. Manny, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Good talking to you. Talk to you soon.
You got it, baby. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. Love it. Appreciate it. Tremolio, what is wrong with you, bro? What is wrong with you, Tremolio? Why the hell would you even bother going to Green Day? If you heard one of their songs, you heard them all, like the B-52s. All their songs sound the same. Well, listen, if you're not a fan of a band, you can't say things like that, because if you don't know their catalog, Planet Claire sounds completely different than Rock Lobster. Planet Claire and Rock Lobster sound completely different than the Love Shack. I'm not exactly sure how you said that at all, Tremolio. Boulevard of Broken Dreams is not Basket Case, dude. They completely sound different. What's the Welcome to Paradise? Listen, if you don't like Green Day and you don't like the B-52s, I'm good with that. That's fine. If you don't like them, but then don't say a comment like you know about them, because you don't know about them. You got me? Don't tell me that the B-52's music all sounds the same, because it doesn't. Now, if you don't like it, that's different. But I just gave you examples that the music's completely different. So I got you. I love you, brother, but you can't say something about a band if you truly don't know their catalog. You know what I'm saying? I saw that and it was like, okay, I get it. Just tell me you don't like the B-52s. Just tell me you don't like Green Day. But don't tell me that their music all sounds the same, because it doesn't. That's not accurate at all. So there you go. Compare B-52's Green Day songwriting to someone like bands like Squeeze. Again, I love Squeeze too. And there'll be plenty of people that don't like Squeeze, Tremolio. I get it. If you don't like the band is one thing, but don't tell me that their music sounds the same, because it does not. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I just said it right now. If you tell me Planet Claire, Love Shack, and Rock Lobster sound the same, I can't help you, bro. The conversation ends right there. That's it. Because I crushed your comment by saying that. Crushed it. But again, you probably don't know Planet Claire. It has pink air. All the trees are red. No one ever dies there. No one has a head. Anyway, you can comment like Tremolio does with terrible B-52 takes, or on Twitter at Big O Show, or, of course, our Yahoo email at bigradioshow@yahoo.com. And, of course, you can make a donation to the program at Cash App and Venmo. Our address is Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Eric Rodriguez says, Brett Venables, Clemson, defensive coordinator. Yes, he is. Were you making a statement, or were you, I don't know what that means. Pat in Nashville says, Tremolio blasphemy. I would agree with that. Dougie Fresh says, Tremolio is in his own private Idaho. Great song, too, man. I love Private Idaho. That is just awesome. That's a great song. Let's see. Alexander Newshow. Big O, what do you think of Huey Lewis in the News? I love Huey Lewis in the News. I got no problem with Huey Lewis, man. Do you believe in love? Great song. Right? If this is it. So many, man. Heart of rock and roll. It's still beaten in Cleveland. Pat in Asheville says, not a fan of new, but the new Green Day album is vastly different. Listen to song Father of All. No, I'm with you, man. I love Green Day. They do a great job. They do an awesome job. They're fantastic. Dougie Fresh says, oh, you know who does not sound the same? Any band and the tribute band trying to sound like them. Now, look, I've heard, there are some bands that maybe some of their music all sounds kind of the same. That's happened before. You know what I mean? But I get it. But Green Day's music all doesn't sound the same, and neither does the B-52s. There's variety there. All right? I'm not telling you that one song could resemble another, sure, but not all their songs resemble the same thing. It's completely different, man. They have done a nice job. Actually, I give the B-52s credit because from their earlier albums, they did evolve and change their music style in a way. It was still, alternative to a certain extent. It's still different in the way they put together their music and arrange it, but it was still a different type of song that they would come up with from one album to another, pretty much. So I give him that. Ray says, Huey Lewis has major hearing problems. He can't tour. I saw an article on it. Yeah. He's had the hearing problems for a while. He was hoping that he could get that, what's it called? Brian Johnson also had the same hearing issues, and he got this new hearing aid that allows him to actually be able to hear himself. And so he's going to be able to tour with that hearing aid, because it's a new hearing aid apparently that came out or whatever. And Brian was one of the first people to actually use it. I'm not sure if Huey can use it or not. Again, I'm not exactly sure the difference in what one guy's hearing loss and another, and what's, I'm not a doctor, but I know that Brian is using some kind of an earpiece that is assisting him in that also. Remember, these guys, a lot of them, they end up with the hearing issues because, dude, they're behind these amps for decades. And obviously, hell, I worry about me. And I've been to a concert, I've been to a concert over 1,000 times, and many of them up close. Okay. Many up close. I always take, what's that called? What are those things called? Earpieces. I always wear those earpieces now for concerts. I don't like Fleetwood Mac. Doesn't make them bad, just my choice. There you go. And I love Fleetwood Mac. Troy says, oh, is Leonard Skinner a tribute band at this point? Yeah. I mean, there's only one original member left, right? Because I don't even think Ricky Medlock was original. He was been there for a long time, but I think he joined them after they started and then has been with them forever. But yeah, they're basically kind of a tribute, but they do a really good job, man. And it's still kind of in the family because it's still the little brother singing, and he does a really good job overall. They sound good, man. I don't mind seeing that version of Skinner. Obviously, it's not the originals. I get it, but it's not it's not a band that you're going and they sound completely off or anything like. No, they sound damn good, dude. I give them a lot of credit. And they have a lot of good musicians on that band too, right now, currently. Now, am I going to pay through the roof to go see them? No. If I can pay a reasonable price, I'll go, because now I may be a little biased in this sense because I love Leonard Skinner. I'm a enormous Southern rock fan. Okay. And Ricky Medlock, obviously the creator of Blackfoot. So I love Blackfoot also. So I have immense respect for Medlock. And Medlock has a couple of guys touring now as Blackfoot, and he gets some of the proceeds from all of that. And he just pays them. That's it. Now, the Blackfoot you'll go see now is a complete tribute band because they're all young guys, actually, that are Blackfoot right now. It's not the originals. Let's see. Martin says, going to see Squeeze before Christmas with Madness. Wow. Squeeze and Madness. That is awesome. I love both bands. Madness is appreciated where you're at, Martin. Obviously, in England and in Europe, Madness is appreciated. Over here in the States, they're kind of like this little fun band that we watched a little bit on MTV, but they don't get the respect that they deserve and how good they are. By the way, since they're a ska band, there's a ska band called the Interrupters. My favorite ska band on the planet right now is the Interrupters, of the modern day ska bands that are out there now. And they do a version of Bad Guy of Billie Eilish's song Bad Guy. Their version is better than Billie Eilish. And I love Billie Eilish. She's super talented. Out of the new artists, she's one that I have immense respect for. She's got the goods, dude. She's got an amazing voice. Her range is awesome. And the Bad Guy version of her song is cool. It's a little it's a little techno, right? So the Interrupters redid it ska style, and it's way better in my book. But Martin, just so you'll know, listen to the Interrupters Bad Guy, and towards the end, you'll hear one of the guys scream, "One step beyond." So in honor of Madness, he throws in a little "One Step Beyond." So check it out, and that'll make you smile. Any of us that are Madness fans, and you're listening to that bad guy version from the Interrupters, which again is better than Billie Eilish's. Awesome. But you'll hear it towards the end, a little honor in honor of Madness. They throw a little one step beyond. I love that song. Oh man. Jose Cabrera says guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan, question mark. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Ass kicker, monster, Hall of Famer, absolute badass, great music, amazing musician, original. I don't know what more you want me to do with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Do I have enough adjectives in there? I mean, I don't think there's enough adjectives to actually describe how good Stevie Ray Vaughan is. Okay, but I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. What else do we have here? Martin says, I've seen them loads of times. Love it. You guys need to get into Madness, though. Oh, Madness is amazing. I'm with you, Martin. I'm with you. Madness is, again, you guys appreciate it. We don't. We don't. It's a whole different ball game. Holy crap. Pat in Nashville says, no Paul Carrick, but Glenn sings his part very well. Yes. You know, I almost saw Paul Carrick when I went to Paris. When I went to Paris a couple of years ago for my 25th wedding anniversary, those of you that follow the show, you know I'm a concert maven. I love going to concerts and seeing live acts. And I've never seen Paul Carrick. And obviously, Paul Carrick has been in all kinds of things, okay? Not just Squeeze, but he was also part of Mike and the Mechanics. He was part of, before all of those bands. What's the name of that band that he was in? And then he's done solo stuff too. So Paul Carrick's been all over the place. Man, how come I can't think of the other band that he was in? And it's like 3 letters to that name of the band or something. It's a short name. What the hell is it? Somebody help me out with Paul Carrick. But anyway, we're going to Paris, right? So I figured, okay, well, I'll get the tickets when I'm there, and I'll try, and because I don't really know how far it is. And I ended up finding out it was like 75 miles away, so I didn't end up going, which pissed me off, and I couldn't go see Paul Carrick. But I love him, man. Great voice. Phenomenal voice. Eddie Lepp is throwing in mini Vanilli. Music sounds the same. Martin says, Madness is playing in Boston next year. I will be there full Dolphins gear if they open the bloody borders. I just want Madness down here in South Florida, and I'll go see them. Greatest band of all time, Alex is asking. Dude, I mean, that's like a subjective thing. But if you want me to throw one out there, I'll go Led Zeppelin, man. Okay? It's not my favorite band of all time, but if you want me to say, all right, who's the rock gods of all time, I'll go Zepp. If somebody wants to say the Beatles or the Stones, what am I going to do? Argue with them? You know what I mean? So greatest band of all time, you want to tell me U2? I'm not going to say anything. Big O, Brandon Jones is a beast in the run game. Correction, Jakeem Grant returns kickoffs in the playoffs and Super Bowl. Dolphins win the championship this year. Caffrey, I agree with you, except the Dolphins are going to win it next year, not this year. This year, 2021 is the tune-up. 2022 is the title. Okay? Elvis Costello sang background for Squeeze, I believe. Elvis Costello is another one I love. Let's see. Going to see Garbage open up for Alanis Morissette Saturday. Not sure if I want to stick around for Alanis, though. Really? Oh, dude, you got to stick around for Alanis. She's fantastic, man. She's got a great voice. She still sounds awesome. I love Alanis. So her early stuff, Jagged Little Pill is it's a masterpiece of an album. It seriously is. Like, she had it going on, dude, and that's a great, great album. She deserves a ton. Roxy Music with Carrick. Yeah, but it's not Roxy Music that I'm thinking of. Man, None of you have come up with it. Now I got to look it up. I thought for sure one of you would come up with the band that Paul Carrick was in. And I'm trying to think of the damn song and everything, and I can't think of it right now. Man, I'm brain farting with it. Sucks. I'll look it up right now, and I will come up with it in 2 seconds. Ace. You suck, Ray. You got it before I did. Ace. That's it. Damn it. And yes, he sung with Roxy Music. Here it goes. Did a little Eagles, Warm Dust, Ace, Roxy Music, Squeeze, Nick Lowe. Cruel to be kind in all the right measures. Cruel to be. Mike and the Mechanics. Spin. 1NE2WO. I don't know what the hell that is. And Ringo Starr and his all-star band, and Eric Clapton. So, Paul Carrick's got like a pretty good resume. He's worked with a few people. Just a couple. Yeah, it was Ace. Thank you. How long has this been going on? That's it. That's Ace. That's the one. There. Now that you said Ace, the song came to me right away. A chorus once says, "Jagged Little Pill is amazing." It's a great album. Period. It's one of the best albums. What did Jagged Little Pill come on? I want to say late 90s, right? Something like that. I think. Let me see. If it came out late 90s, guaranteed it's one of the best albums ever in the 90s. Let me see what year. Where are we at here? Where's the discography? Jagged Little Pill. Here we go. Yes, 90s, 94, 95. Jagged Little Pill is one of the 100 best albums of the 90s, 50 best albums of the 90s. Maybe even 25. I don't know. But it's up there, man. It's up there. Yes, there you go. Ray comes in with How Long. Exactly. Ray sold about 15 million copies, Jagged Little Pill. Jagged Little Pill is an amazing album. John Urich says, saw Stevie Ray Vaughan at a small venue in 83 in Brunswick, New Jersey. Awesome, of course. John, consider yourself fortunate, bro. You got to see one of the greatest of all time. That's what Stevie Ray Vaughan is. I don't know where you want to put him, but he is one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Period. End of story. It's not up for discussion. And if somebody tells you that he's not one of the greatest, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't know where you want to put him. Number 5, number 10, number 25, whatever. But when you talk about one of the greatest guitarists of all time, he's going to be in that conversation. No doubt. And it's just a terrible shame that we lost him. I think it was a plane crash, right? I think is what we lost him to, unfortunately. Sad. Really sad. Let's see. Tim Tebow was cut today. You guys saw that? And I'm not surprised, but there is a little part of me, I'm not surprised that he got cut, but I'm surprised it was this early in the game. I thought his friendship with Urban Meyer would help him out almost to the extent that he would make the team. Now, you saw him this week. He looked like a disaster. Couldn't hold up a block. He wasn't a baseball player, and he's not a tight end. He wasn't even a quarterback at the NFL level. And only a Tim Tebow will get an opportunity with the Mets, an opportunity with the Jags, and even get some understanding from people. Most people that were in his position, first of all, would have never gotten the break. And second of all, everybody would have been laughing at him right from the get-go. Now, people were laughing, but you still have Tim Tebow has this strong-ass following that they believe he can almost be anything, basically. It doesn't matter what he chooses, they're going to support him like all out. It's like a cult that follows Tim Tebow around. Now, this kind of came to the ending that it should, And you know what? This might be the best thing because he's such a good dude. You don't want him to suffer any kind of serious injury and all of that. So this is the best thing. He says, thankful for the highs and even the lows, the opportunities and the setbacks. I've never wanted to make decisions out of fear of failure, and I'm grateful for the chance to have pursued a dream. Nothing wrong with that, man. Bless him. Wish him the best. He's a good dude, a good person, but he had no business being on an NFL field as a tight end. That was going to be a stretch as it is. It was a stretch for him to be on the field as a quarterback. Okay? And it was an incredible stretch. It was an even bigger stretch to think that he could be a professional baseball player at the major league level. And he only got elevated because he's Tim Tebow, because he sells a bunch of jerseys, because he still puts butts in the seats. That's it. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, Reinsdorf knew that Michael Jordan wasn't going to be a baseball player, but he also knew that he was going to fill up his minor league stadiums. And so while he was, on his getaway from basketball or suspension, whatever you guys want to call it, right? He figures, well, why not work for me at least? If he wants to play baseball, then play for me and make me money. If you're not going to win me championships and make me money playing basketball, well, then make me some money playing baseball, period. That's it. And that's the only reason he got a chance, because he's Michael Jordan, and he's going to be a draw. And that's Tim Tebow. He's a draw. He's going to sell jerseys. Doesn't matter. Tim Tebow can get a shot with the Panthers, right? And he's in training camp, and they can put Tebow hockey jerseys in Pantherland, and I guarantee you they'll sell a couple thousand, because that's the following that guy has. It's probably one of the strongest followings and most dedicated followings I've ever seen with any kind of athlete. And obviously, I'm sure it does come a lot from Gator fans and probably from a religious side of it too. But I wish him the best, man. What are you going to do? I love one thing that he did say, that it was he didn't want to not try something from the fear of failure. And that's something that we all can learn, because there's a lot of us that we don't take some chances in life because we're afraid to fail. And you should never, ever, ever be afraid to fail. Why? Failure is part of life. You fall off the bike, you get back up again. You don't know how to tie your shoes, you learn how to tie your shoes. You don't tie them right, and then eventually you do it right. Everything comes with failure, right? Everything, there's a stage where you've got to learn what you're doing. And maybe the first time you're in debate class, you suck. But as it goes on, you kind of learn how to become a better debater, and you figure it out, and you start to excel at it. Everything is based on failing, man. And if you're not willing to fail, you're probably also not willing to sacrifice what you need to succeed. Right? Because it's Michael Jordan getting cut from the JV basketball team. Does he quit there? No. He continues, because that's part of life, failing. Right? John Elway failed in one Super Bowl after another. What's he going to do? Quit? He kept going until eventually they got the defense in the running game, and he won back-to-back and walked out into the sunset. It's normal to fail. It's abnormal if you're just successful at everything. First time you step into the batter's box, you hit a home run. Now, usually the first time you step into the batter's box and they're, throwing hard at you, you're probably going to strike out. You're probably going to foul out. You're going to pop up. Your batting average is going to be really low. But then eventually you start getting better and better, and the batting average starts to go up. All part of failure, man. So when Tebow said that, thankful for the highs and even the lows, the opportunities and the setbacks, I never wanted to make decisions out of fear of failure. That right there should be an inspiration for everybody in anything you do. Because I know that if I want to cook, man, I'm going to suck. But eventually, if I continue doing it, I'll learn how to do it and do it the right way. But those first pancakes that I try to make, they're probably going to be all discombobulated, all screwed up, undercooked, whatever it is, or burnt. And then eventually, wow, my pancakes don't look black anymore. Now they have that light brown look. Yay, I did it right. There you go. But you look at the trash can and there's like 8 different burnt out pancakes there because I didn't do it right. It's all part of it, baby. It's all part of it. What's the market doing right now? Le crypto market. What do we got going on here? It's a little bit of a lull right now. Ethereum is at 31.76. It's gone down a little bit. Cardano's at 207 and Bitcoin's at 45,963. So a little bit of a correction, which, that's kind of to be expected. Laughing on the pancakes. Hey, it's true, isn't it? Because you screwed up too, right, John? When you first started doing pancakes, right? You screwed it all up because I know I did. Urban messed up. He should have brought him aboard as the team chaplain. Oh, man, that is so wrong. David Sorensen says, Big O, I'm sorry, bro. Worst mistake we ever made with our draft pick is passing on Justin Herbert. We will learn to quit drafting injured players. Okay, bro. You got it. So you're done then. Right, David? You're done. Not that I'm going to remember this, but if the kid hits, make sure you come back with the same, energy and say, I was wrong. Okay? So just in case, if it happens, because up until this point, Justin Herbert looked good, put up a lot of stats. Go look at the wins. Didn't beat anybody. Actually, Tua has more quality wins than actually your boy Justin Herbert. Your boy Justin Herbert didn't have any quality wins. He put up some stats. He had great talent around him. One guy had it, one guy didn't. But if you want to quit right now, there you go. It's a free world, baby. Nick Lowe produced some of the Pretenders stuff. All those bands intermingled. Squeeze, Costello, Pretenders, Rockpile, Rick Lowe, etc., etc. I agree. Good era too, man. Love that era music, man. Big O, don't get too hung up on the market right now. Summer is always slow. September will get your gains. Tremolio, I've already got gains. What are you talking about, bro? The market is up. It's a little correction now, but, I've got my Ethereum like in the 1,500, 1,600, 1,700s. Got a little bit at 18 when this last dip, but most of it is, and we're at 31. So I'm already making money. There's a lot of things. VeChain's at like 12 or 13 cents right now. All of mine is at 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 cents. So lots of things. The market's up for most of us. The people that are FOMOing in late, that's different. But those of us that went in earlier, we're doing fine. We're doing fine right now. We're waiting for it to take another step, actually. Now, where I disagree with you is crypto is a little different than the stocks, okay? I think you and I have had this conversation before, okay? I follow crypto pretty well here. What's gone on with Cardano had nothing to do with up and down, had to do with Gauguin. And the smart contracts kick in September 12th. That's why you're watching the rise in Cardano. And now, because it had that incredible lift right now where it went parabolic, there's a little bit of a consolidation, and it's going to take off now to $3 very soon. As for Ethereum also is one that is going to start pumping now along with Bitcoin. And I've been telling you this because the exchanges have less. So now it's going to start going up now because there's less. And you're going to have more what's called institutional money coming in, because the retail money, my money, your money, it doesn't really change the market that much. It's the institutional money that's coming in, and there's a lot of it going in now into Ethereum and Cardano, not just Bitcoin. So all of these things are going to change what's going on for the. You're right in general that the summertime is slow, but we've been in summer and crypto just had a shot up now, and a lot of coins are up now. They're not at where their peak was, but they were probably a little overvalued at that point. So that's why you got that correction, and I think now you're getting more of the reality of where this thing is at. But I'm over on Ecomi, I'm over in Veracity, I'm over on Theta. I mean, I got a ton of coins that are in the green. Cardano, I got a ton of Cardano in the 90-cent range, $1, $1.05, something like that. It's over $2 right now. So there's a lot of that. There's no lull right now, actually. A lot of us that have been in crypto a while should be doing all right now. We're waiting for that next step that's coming in. We just had one hell of a boost that put a lot of people in the green, actually. Most of us that were in crypto or are in crypto were in the red a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Now most of us that invested early are out of the red right now. We're all in the green. So at least crypto-wise, I can't speak for stocks because I don't follow them, but crypto I do follow like a madman. What was Herbert's record again? Just saying, bad take on passing on him. Tua will shut up the pundits this year. Book it. Yeah, I'm not worried about Tua. You guys know that. Herman says, my children don't eat pancakes. Ha ha. Really? Wow. So do they eat French toast or waffles at least? I mean, a kid that doesn't eat pancakes, he or she's got to be able to eat waffles or French toast, right? I mean, if you're a child and you don't have pancakes, waffles, or French toast, wow, you're being cheated out of a delicious childhood. How can you not like one of those? So, Herman, you got to tell me, your kids have got to like the other two, right? Or at least one of them. You got to like one of the big three, right? It's got to be. Oh, they don't eat the pancakes I make. Okay. Okay. I got you now. Oh, I love it. What else do we have here? French toast is me too, Troy. I mean, I love pancakes. I'll eat waffles too. I love waffles, but I'm with you. French toast is my ultimate addiction, dude. Love French toast. Oh, so good. Maybe I should have some for lunch. It's like that Denny's commercial, right? By the way, did you guys see what's going on in Tampa Bay? And I got to tell you something. You want to say we suck as a sports town, whatever. You know, listen, have at it. Knock yourself out. Call us a crappy sports town. Whatever, man. It is what it is. Okay, if you want to do that. But I'll tell you this. Tampa's way worse than we are. They are. Let me give you an example. Because, we're front runners in this town, right? Okay. What if the Marlins were as good as the Rays? The Rays are in first place. They had Baltimore in town, and they had 5,460 fans show up. They've only had 20K one time this season when the Bo Sox were in. And there's a lot of, Yankees and Red Sox fans and all that in that part of the state. So there's a lot of those fans that have already moved from the Northeast. There's a strong contingent, not just here in South Florida, but in the Northeast. There's a strong contingent of Northeast people living on the west coast of Florida, from Tampa all the way down to Naples and Fort Myers and area, and all those areas. But I got to tell you something. Even if the Marlins were as good as the Rays, I'm not telling you it would be sold out or nothing, but I'm telling you it would not be. They draw more than 5,460 for the crappy team now. For the team that never wins every year, they draw more than that. I get it. We don't trust the Marlins, and they haven't earned anybody's trust. I understand all of that, and I know what we are as a town. I get all of that. But I saw that with the Rays, and it was like, really? How is that possible? I get it that they don't keep their players when it's all said and done. They got really good baseball people in Tampa. I mean, exceptional. There's no way you're constantly competing with the Yankees and the Red Sox and you don't spend, and yet they spend. And somehow or another, you find yourself competing with them. That's impressive as hell. But how you don't draw, to me, that's kind of crazy. Here's a story. So, teams in first place in the division, yet a crowd of 5,460 attended Monday's game against the Orioles. Mark Tompkin of Tampa Bay Times pointed out on Twitter that's their lowest attendance at Tropicana Field without COVID restrictions in place. Now, the Monday evening game was against the last place Orioles, so if you want to defend that. But the fact is that the Delta variant is running rampant in the state of Florida. Wouldn't encourage fans to get out of the ballpark either. Still, attendance has been poor for the Rays even before COVID-19. They've broken 20,000 once this season when the Red Sox were in town in the end of July. They increased the capacity allowance at Tropicana Field to 25,000 in the start of July. By comparison, Boston hasn't had fewer than 20,000 fans since restrictions were lifted in Massachusetts. Baltimore is having a miserable season, and their lowest attendance of the second half of the season was 7,124 against the Tigers. When attendance figures of the first place team don't even compare to the last place team, that's a problem. The Rays are too good for no one to be watching them. And there's no reason. How weird is that, dude? I know we're fair-weathered in this town, but if the Marlins were as good as the Rays, there'd be 12, 15,000 there every night. Easily. Oh, and knowing this town, you think the Red Sox game would be the only one that would have 20,000 one time? No. All the Red Sox games would be loaded. All of the Yankees games would be absolutely loaded. Because if the Marlins are good and they're beating the Yankees or competing with the Yankees, we've been there. It's called the World Series. We saw that. Like, that's the weirdest thing, dude. How is it that the Rays aren't drawing? And listen, I get it. They are frustrated that they compete, but yet they don't keep any of their stars long term. The guys eventually leave. I get that, but you're getting results. See, we have a young team, and we see no results. They're never challenging for a wild card spot. They're never in the playoffs, period. They're never winning the division, and none of that stuff ever happens with the young Marlins. So you don't win here. I get it. You're not going to draw here. But if you're the Rays, I'm convinced we would have done way better than Tampa. They are a really crappy sports town. Wow. Also, you would say that this is a perfect opportunity to get some value during this brief consolidation. Yes, I would. I still think V-Chain is a good value. I still think Matic is a good value at $1, what is it, 45, 47? Even though, I got it a lot cheaper, but it was at 260. So it's going to go right back up again. So there are some coins like Ethereum now, you're FOMOing in now. It's at 3,100, man, 3,200. I think it's going to go to 7 or 10, but, I kind of would wait for a correction on that one. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, I think, is not a bad value right now, actually. So it all depends on what coins we're talking about. That some of them are still good values. I think Stellar is still a good value at this point in time. There are some that are still good values. Not great. Great. You're done with great. That was 3 weeks to a month ago. You could have gotten great value. Now you're completely off the bandwagon now. Now you're more FOMOing in on a lot of these coins that are already going up. But there are still some that are a decent value that you can still have some gains when it's all said and done. Yes. I will tell you that. Yes. Okay? Oh, the Rays location and stadium are terrible. Yeah, I don't buy any of that stadium location and terrible, all that stuff. I've been to that stadium a whole bunch of times. I go every year for the East-West Shrine when it was there because it's no longer there anymore now. Now it moved to Vegas this time. There's not an excuse not to go. It's not that terrible of a neighborhood. It's safe overall parking there and going to the stadium. There's a lot of warehouses there and all that, but nah, I don't give you that break on that. It's a damn good team, dude. They should go see them. You know? I put my 401k in Aquanet and Beta VCR stock. Okay? I have no idea about either one, so you're gonna have to ask Tremolio. He follows the stock market. My thing is crypto. So I don't know about Aquanet and Bet VCR stock, Beta VCR stock. That I don't know about, my brother. So I can't. The one thing about me is if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you, man. Hey, I don't know. You know. Big O, it's like you said in the past, baseball does nothing to draw youth fans. It's an old man's game from our time. MLB needs to get with current youth to draw. Yeah, that also doesn't help. But, dude, they draw in other places. You know what I'm saying? So, they're pretty good. Usually when you have a team as good as Tampa, you should draw. Even if it's baseball, you should at least draw. Wise words, 54-41 mark. If you treat all problems as opportunities to learn and grow, you will go far. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's how I live my life, my brother. I don't let, there are going to be hurdles and there's going to be roadblocks, but you can't quit. There's no quitting, baby. There's no quitting. Big O, I don't always agree with you, but you're awesome to listen to. I'm glad you have regular guests always consistent on your show, more listeners than AM radio. I mean, what are we going to do, bro? I can't, AM radio's done. It's just a matter of time before they fold up to 10 and all you're listening to is piped in syndicated stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's the inevitable. That's what's going to happen because this is the future. Right here. The podcasting, the digital, that's the entire future. All right. We are going to wrap it up here on the show. We thank all of you, as always, for tuning in. By the way, Ivan Martinez, give you a little love. Thank you, sir. He went and bought an MDX at Acura Pembroke Pines. A lot of times when you guys use our sponsors, sometimes you don't tell the sponsor and you don't mention us. Or sometimes you don't tell me about it. And so it would be nice. You know what I'm saying? So thank you all out there. As always, you got to support our sponsors. If you want us to grow, please support the people that support us. We have great sponsors. I don't get tied to crappy sponsors. So if somebody's tied to this show, it's because they're damn good at what they do, whatever it is that is part of our sponsorship group. So thank you all out there as always. Remember, you can also support the show through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show is the address. That's Cash Big O Show. Whenever you're listening to the podcast, day or night, weekends, it doesn't matter. Please smash the like button. Please reach out to us anytime you got questions, comments, concern, a suggestion. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Follow us on Twitter at Big O Show. And we will all see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. You all have a great one.